Chapter 1106. Thunder Fire Mysterious Lotus Crazy Harvest. Chapter 1106. Chapter 389. Thunder Fire Mysterious Lotus, Crazy Harvest. If this were known in the outside world, that a Foundation establishment cultivator had grasped divine skills, it would surely cause others to gasp in astonishment. Such capabilities, even when considering the entire Jiang country cultivation realm and the four great immortal sects, are as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Such a person should not be allowed to exist. But as the son of Lu Chongqing, it can only be said to be not bad. Father, it consumed about 70% of my mana. If I were to go all out, I feel that all my mana would be drained, Lu Xian said in a daze. This divine skill is indeed powerful, but its consumption is also quite exaggerated. It made him realize that in a battle he could only use it once. And it must end the fight, otherwise he would put himself in a dangerous situation. Okay, not bad. You should practice it more frequently, otherwise by the time your divine skills are ready, your opponent might have already escaped. Lu Chongqing nodded, his fingers clenched, extinguishing the thunder fire mysterious lotus in his hand. The Thunder Gang dragon flame on his palm also dissipated as if nothing had happened. This scene left Lu Xian profoundly shocked. His father said that his divine skill was comparable to the full strike of a Foundation establishment late-stage cultivator. But such a supernatural technique was easily toyed with by his father. Doesn't that mean my father's strength far surpasses that of a Foundation establishment cultivator? Could it be, my father is a nascent soul immortal? When you are out and about, you need to hide your abilities a bit to avoid danger, Lu Chongqing said with a light smile without explaining too much. He continued, in the following time, you will go to Flower Fruit Mountain to oversee it and focus on cultivation. Master this divine skill and the techniques of Thunder Fire 9 arts. If anything happens, simply send a message home. Because of family teachings, Lu family disciples at the early and middle stages of energy refinement don't usually spend time on technique. It is only in the later stages of energy refinement that they begin to spend time mastering techniques. For children like Lu Xian who have decent talents, they would have mastered 3 to 5 techniques in the later stages of energy refinement. But this situation certainly cannot continue forever. After breaking through to Foundation establishment for the sake of combat power, one must master all the accompanying spells of the cultivation technique and become proficient in them. Yes, father. Lu Xian formally replied. He had previously guessed that his father would send him to oversee Flower Fruit Mountain. Initially he was somewhat apprehensive, worried about not being able to manage the family. But now, having mastered a divine skill, he was filled with confidence. Confident that if a mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator attacked, he could, just like his elder brother Lu Pingon did in the past, repel a mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator with his initial stage Foundation establishment powers. After settling Lu Qingquan's matters and making sure there was nothing urgent at home, Lu Chongqing along with Ling Zixiao set off for the Myriad Beasts mountain range. This time he did not choose to travel by spiritual vessel. Instead he directly controlled the starlight plate holding Ling Zixiao's hand and soaring into the sky. From Bai Lake Mountain to Qingyun Market, one needs to wait for a spiritual vessel, then board the vessel to Azure Phoenix Immortal City, which wastes a lot of time going to and fro. The Myriad Beasts mountain range stretches across nearly half of the southern border of Jiang country. As soon as they reached the Imperial Spirit Sect's domain, they could enter the mountain range. So with the starlight plate including rest times, it would take about a month to reach the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Is this the legendary 9 Heavens Gang Wind Layer? Above the 9 heavens, Ling Zixiao's beautiful eyes were bright and clear, shining with starlight, observing a landscape she had never seen before, dreaming of reaching such a realm. Yes, this is the 9 Heavens Gang Wind Layer. With the help of this treasure I can briefly travel through this layer of Gang Wind. Lu Chongqing stood on the star plate holding Ling Zixiao's hand and said with a light smile. I heard that many sun and moon essences, starlight and heaven and earth spiritual materials condensed from meteors outside of heaven gather here. Even cultivators' magical treasures are sometimes lost in the 9 Heavens Gang Wind Layer due to various reasons. Ling Zixiao, wearing a lake blue palace dress, her hair pinned up high with a diagonal jade delicate hairpin, had a dignified and graceful appearance. This is just the lower part of the 9 Heavens Gang Wind Layer. If you want to find sun and moon essence, starlight and other heaven and earth spiritual materials, You probably need to go to the top layer. Lu Chongqing said so, not really expecting to find treasure. After all, the odds of finding treasure are like winning the lottery, akin to encountering fortuitous adventures mentioned in the legends. However, just after he finished speaking, he suddenly saw a huge fragment being battered within the dark gang winds in the distance. What's this? Capture it. Lu Chongqing frowned slightly, his sleeve stirred, and a swirling yin-yang energies rolled out, forming a large cloudy hand. The hand grasped, capturing the huge fragment amidst the wind, bringing it back to the star plate. Looking at it, it appears to be a fragment of a magical treasure. Lu Chongqing examined the black, scar-covered fragment in his hand, recognizing it as likely a part of a cauldron-type magical treasure. However, considering how badly the cauldron was damaged, the owner of the treasure must have died. Beside him, Ling Zixiao was also startled. Then, with a somewhat peculiar expression, she looked at Lu Chongqing, pursed her red lips lightly and said with a faint smile, "Truly fitting for my lord to find treasures as soon as we leave home. It's purely coincidental, and besides, a fragment of a magical treasure is hardly a treasure." Lu Chongqing knew Ling Zixiao had misunderstood and replied with a smile. Picking up a treasure as soon as they left home was a good omen to him, and he was in a relatively good mood. However, the appearance of such a fragment made him suspect that there might be cultivators fighting in the Nine Heavens gang wind ahead, making him more cautious. And so, a month later, the two arrived at the outskirts of the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Lu Chongqing found a place to restore his mana to its peak state before steering the spirit boat, carrying Ling Zixiao into the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Coming to the Myriad Beasts mountain range, he naturally did his homework. He knew that a cultivator's mana was like a torch in the night for the demon beasts. Chapter 1107. Thunder Fire Mysterious Lotus Crazy Harvest. Chapter 1107. Chapter 389. Thunder Fire Mysterious Lotus Crazy Harvest. Magic aura weakened, possibly attacked by demon beasts. Magic aura strengthened, would be considered as provocation by demon beasts. And in Myriad Beasts mountain range, where demon beasts are everywhere, continuing to control the starlight plate not only consumes a lot of mana but also easily attracts the attention of third-rank demon kings. Hence Lu Chongqing uses the spirit boat for travel. For now, he only uses the spirit boat in the outer areas of the mountain range. Once deeper inside, he would not use the spirit boat. Otherwise, encountering flocks of flying creatures would be troublesome. As the two of them entered the Myriad Beasts mountain range, they occasionally saw small groups of hunting cultivators. Since both Lu Chongqing and Ling Zixiao emitted the spiritual pressure of Foundation establishment cultivators, these cultivators would act as if they were facing a formidable enemy upon seeing them, fearing that they were robber cultivators. After all, within the Myriad Beasts mountain range, demon beasts are only a part of the dangers. Half of the cultivators do not die from demon beasts but from other cultivators. After Lu Chongqing went deeper into the mountain range for a few hundred miles and saw that the situation was manageable, he and Ling Zixiao descended to the ground and stowed away the spirit boat. "Zixiao, don't stray too far from me and be careful." Lu Chongqing instructed Ling Zixiao. "Your consort understands." Ling Zixiao lightly smiled and softly responded. "Let's get to work." Lu Chongqing took out a seeking spirit mouse from the spiritual pet bag, letting it guide him toward where the geographical veins held denser spiritual energy, indicating the presence of a spirit vein. Although he had acquired the second-rank dragon-seeking technique, he hadn't cultivated the two main methods of a dragon seeker, the Origin Spirit Divine Perception and Origin Spirit Pupillary Art, at all. Thus, he could not discern the spirit veins within the mountains and lands by himself. He had to rely on this seeking spirit mouse to indicate a general direction, then check by using the pupil skill. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The seeking spirit mouse quickly nodded. It had been well-fed and comfortable for the past few months. Knowing that if it did not perform well, it would face hungry days again, it promptly began. Then the two people and one mouse started searching for spirit veins in the mountain range. Several hours later, Lu Chongqing and Ling Zixiao arrived at the territory of a second-rank thunder rock leopard. Facing such a demon beast, Lu Chongqing directly killed it with a punch, then asked Ling Zixiao to lay a formation, while he used the Origin Spirit Pupillary Art to pinpoint the location of the spirit vein, and then began severing spiritual veins. This trip to Myriad Beasts mountain range, his equipment was very complete. Mountain opener shovel, Vein locating compass, spirit sealing nail, mountain and river cauldron. Origins spirit intercept vein technique. Lu Chongxing looked at the minor spirit vein in front of him, skillfully integrating the spiritual vein origin into his mountain and river cauldron. Several days later, as the spirit vein dried up and vanished, the terrain began to collapse. Lu Chongxing saw this and quickly returned to the surface. Lord, what happened? Ling Zixiao, who was guarding outside, immediately showed concern. The changes in the terrain caused quite a stir and even affected her formation. It's nothing, the spirit vein affected the terrain, the noise might attract other demon beasts, let's go. Lu Chongxing explained and had Ling Zixiao pack up the array plate to change locations and let the seeking spirit mouse continue searching. And so half a month passed by. Through these days of continuous searching, Lu Chongxing realized that most of the spirit veins in Myriad Beasts Mountain Range were scattered minor spirit veins, even micro spirit veins. To find those larger second-rank spirit veins he would need to go deeper. However, going deeper might encounter third-rank demon kings. Lu Chongxing still chose to be cautious and opted to bulldoze through second-order monster beasts here. Boom boom boom. That day Lu Chongxing encountered a group of demon beasts. A second-rank late-stage wolf king, leading 4 second-rank demon wolves and nearly 100 first-grade demon wolves. If it weren't for Lu Changsheng's exceptional strength, a typical Foundation establishment peak cultivator might have perished here. This also underscored one of the most perilous aspects of Myriad Beasts Mountain Range. You never know how many demon beasts you will face. I should have brought the 9 Netherhound with me. Lu Chongxing looked at the corpses of the demon beasts around him and said somewhat regretfully. He had killed countless demon beasts along the way. Apart from monster cores or valuable materials like demon beast essence blood, most of the bones could only be abandoned. If he had the abyssal ghoul blossom or a 9 Netherhound, such waste would not have happened. However, this spirit vein should be quite substantial. Lu Chongxing surveyed the spirit vein using the Origin Spirit Pupillary Art. Having severed spirit veins over these days, he could judge the general condition of a spirit vein by the demon beast territories. Although demon beasts do not have as high requirements for spirit veins as cultivators do, they also prefer to occupy good spirit veins. Like this wolf king leading such a large wolf pack, it indicates that the spirit vein is substantial. Is this earth fire evil chi? Lu Chongxing saw a crack in the depths of the wolf king's cave, with hot evil chi emanating from it. Based on his understanding of the geographical veins from the dragon-seeking technique, Lu Chongxing guessed that deep within this earth's core, there should be a vein of earth sha fire. This earth fire evil chi has an effect on tempering the body. This wolf king could occupy this place and breed 4 second-rank demon wolves, probably because of this earth fire evil chi. Lu Chongxing thought to himself and without much hesitation began to dig. As he dug deeper, there indeed was a vein of earth fire evil chi. This earth fire sha vein, if transferred intact, could refine a mana foundation establishment spiritual object earth fire gang sha every 10 years. However, since him severing its origin, it's almost half wasted. Lu Chongxing shook his head, somewhat regretful. If such an earth sha fire vein could be completely transferred back home and refined through formation every 10 years, it could refine a gang sha. This gang sha could be used to refine artifacts, enhancing the power of spiritual artifacts, or as a fire attribute technique's foundation establishment spiritual object. But if I can find a few more of these earth sha fire veins, I could also nurture one at home. Chapter 1108. Thunder Fire Mysterious Lotus Crazy Harvest. _4 Chapter 1108. Chapter 389. Thunder Fire Mysterious Lotus, Crazy Harvest. _4 Lu Chongxing thought to himself without hesitation, skillfully deploying the vein-sealing compass, spirit-sealing nail and the mountain and river cauldron. Just as Lu Chongxing was intercepting a spirit vein, Ling Zixiao suddenly looked up and noticed 2 foundation establishment mana auras swiftly approaching from the distance. Her expression turned vigilant as she prepared herself and turned to the thousand faces puppet fox beside her, whispering, "Take action." At this moment she had no idea whether the newcomers were friends or foes. But her husband was in the middle of intercepting a spirit vein, which was not to be disturbed. It was just bad luck for the incomers to stumble upon them. Within a few breaths, 3 foundation establishment cultivators arrived in the valley. They looked at the wolf corpses strewn about with serious expressions. However, at the next moment their consciousness blurred and they were met with different illusions. Pu. Ling Zixiao gestured an incantation and sharp spikes each a zhang tall appeared from the ground, piercing through the three people's protective spiritual light and impaling their bodies. After doing this, Ling Zixiao's mana surged and threads of flame aura enveloped her, forming the vague figure of a creature with the head of a beast and the body of a human, clothed in red scales, with fire serpents in its ears, and standing upon a fire dragon. This was the demon god of fire that she had cultivated through the 12 capital demon divine technique, collecting the intents of various demon gods and refining it with the dragon roar of yang energy within her body. Although this demon god was only an illusion, it already possessed a decent fighting power. The demon god stepped through the formation, incinerated the 3 corpses, and took their storage bags back into the formation with its mana, before transforming into a flame of mana that returned to Ling Zixiao's body. Days later, Lu Chongxing had intercepted the earthly Sha fire vein, and the valley's earth veins began to collapse. Seeing the commotion, Ling Zixiao proficiently packed up the formation, and she and Lu Chongxing continued their search for new spirit veins. Congratulations to the host for the birth of 700 descendants, you have earned 1 draw opportunity. On this day, just as Lu Chongxing had slain a second-order large bear, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Only 700. Lu Chongxing felt somewhat distracted and sentimentally. He didn't pay too much attention to it and went forward to break open the bear demon's skull, extracting the monster core. As a second-order spiritual slaughterer, he could roughly determine whether a demon beast had a monster core or not based on its size and bloodline grade. This trip to the Myriad Beasts mountain range had not only yielded the spirit vein origin. Constantly slaying demon beasts also brought him a considerable income. This made Lu Chongxing reflect that it's no wonder so many people came to the Myriad Beasts mountain range to hunt for money. It indeed made good money. He decided that when he broke through to core formation he would come to hunt for demon kings in the Myriad Beasts mountain range and also earn the money needed to craft magical treasures. Otherwise, with the current income and expenses of his household relying solely on the goodwill of sponsors, he really had no money to craft magical treasures. Time flew swiftly, and before they knew it, Lu Chongxing and Ling Zixiao had been in the Myriad Beasts mountain range for half a year. With the help of the Seeking Spirit Mouse, it was quite simple for them to only look for spirit veins within the territories of second-order monster beasts. Throughout the process, although they encountered some ferocious beast groups and malicious cultivators, they were all effortlessly resolved. In the process, aside from the spirit vein origin and monster cores, Lu Chongxing had gathered almost 10,000 spirit stones worth of heavenly and earthly treasures. On one hand, the Myriad Beasts mountain range indeed had an abundance of heavenly and earthly treasures. On the other hand, it also had to do with the demon beasts he had been hunting. After all, most of the demon beasts slain to find spirit veins were second-order great demons. Places where these great demons resided often had spirit flowers, spirit grass, or spiritual materials and/or stones. Speaking of or stones, Lu Chongxing felt quite regretful. During this time he saw 2 veins. However, personally mining these veins was too time-consuming and not worth the effort. Furthermore, mining in the Myriad Beasts mountain range was very dangerous, and at least a false core strength is needed as protection. Nevertheless, Lu Chongxing had a stroke of good luck once, encountering Earth Essence spiritual milk in one of the Earth veins. For a Foundation Establishment cultivator, this second-order Earth Essence spiritual milk was highly precious. Just 1 drop would restore a large amount of mana. Thus, for the past half-year, Ling Zixiao was continuously amazed by Lu Chongxing's findings. She said that Lu Chongxing was simply blessed with huge luck. The gains from this half-year were equivalent to the wealth that many Foundation Establishment cultivators could not earn in their lifetimes. If the value of the spirit vein origin was taken into account, such income would even exceed that of many nascent soul immortals. This also made Lu Chongxing realize that being a dragon seeker was truly profitable. If he was willing to sell the spirit vein origin, he could make a fortune. I have a few more mountain and river cauldrons, and since it's going so smoothly, they'll fill up these cauldrons too. In that case, in addition to cultivating the spirit veins of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, I can also consider cultivating Lingtue Cliff spirit veins, or nurture a few first-order spirit veins at Bai Lake Mountain. Lu Chongxing spoke out loud. The trip was smoother than he had expected, so he planned to fill every mountain and river cauldron he had prepared. By doing this, he not only could cultivate the spirit veins of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven to second-tier top level but also improve the spirit veins of Bai Lake Mountain slightly. Okay. Ling Zixiao, graceful and elegant, replied softly. Given Lu Changsheng's efficiency, she estimated that they could return within half a year at most. Chapter 1109. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. Chapter 1109. Chapter 390. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. A golden spirit boat carried a man and a woman. The man appeared to be in his 20s, with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes, noble in appearance, wearing a white golden robe with an extraordinary bearing. The woman looked about 18 or 19, with a beautiful and graceful countenance that was both elegant and otherworldly, and wore a stunning rainbow feather garment, her beautiful eyes brimming with anticipation. Little Zhu, there's still a month's journey to go, don't rush. Lu Qingshan, seeing his sister's eager face as she just disembarked from the spiritual vessel in Qingyun Market, couldn't help but smile. Although he too missed home. But as a man who travels the world, anywhere can be home, so he was not as anxious as his sister. Emichung. Lu Qingzhu replied softly, sitting down on the spirit boat and speaking quietly. Brother, do you think Qingxi and Qingxian will like the gifts we've prepared? Shouldn't Qing Song be able to use the leftover Foundation establishment spirit objects from before? She had prepared many gifts for her parents, brothers and sisters on this trip back home as the elder sister. They'll definitely like them. You've put so much thought into this, they'll have to like it for my sake even if they don't. Lu Qingshan, accustomed to ruffling his sister's hair, said casually with a smile. As for Qing Song, if he can't achieve Foundation establishment even with 4 Foundation establishment elixirs, he might as well bump into tofu and die. His sister Lu Qingzhu had only used 3 Foundation establishment elixirs to break through to Foundation establishment. If their younger brother Lu Qingsong couldn't break through with these 4 remaining elixirs, Lu Qingshan would be too ashamed to acknowledge him as his brother. It would be utterly embarrassing. Brother. Lu Qingzhu, who was used to her brother's casual and unfocused speech, rolled her eyes at him. Just then, the jade pendant at her waist suddenly emitted a warm glow. Lu Qingzhu was startled, then turned to her brother and said, Brother, it seems like we have siblings nearby from our family. Oh. Hearing this, Lu Qingshan's brows lifted and he smiled as he nodded in response to his sister's gaze. In that case, let's go and see. In a dense and lush jungle, ancient trees soared to the sky, verdantly thick. Lu Rui swiftly navigated through the air with a falling leaf artifact. She had chosen to venture out into the world many years ago because of an incident at White Tiger Mountain. 18 years had passed, and her cultivation had broken through from the 6th level of energy refinement to the 8th level. And recently, in a ruins cave mansion, she had an opportunity and broke through to 9th level energy refinement, planning to return home to cultivate peacefully and attempt Foundation establishment before the age of 60. However, for some reason she was targeted soon after leaving the ruins. Since her substitute talisman had been used up long ago, and her only second-rank talisman was also used in the cave mansion of the ruins. Now, faced with the pursuit of 5 cultivators at energy refinement late stage, she could only flee for her life. I can't shake them off like this. Lu Rui looked back, her cold features becoming grim. She had struggled so much over the years to secure this opportunity and glimpse a hope for Foundation establishment. The thought of dying out here was unbearable. Just then she noticed her identity token shine with a gentle luster, emitting an intangible aura that indicated a response from her siblings. She had activated the token simply out of desperation, playing a long shot. After all, very few siblings from her family ventured out. And the Jiang country cultivation realm was so vast, it was improbable to encounter them by chance. I wonder which brother or sister it is, Lu Rui pondered in her heart. The siblings from her family who were out cultivating all had good cultivation, at least at the 6th level of energy refinement. And they all possessed talismans given by their father, which were enough to intimidate cultivators at energy refinement late stage. Swish, swish, swish. 5 figures were closing in on Lu Rui. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no grudge against each other. Could you perhaps spare me a passage for life? Lu Rui faced these approaching figures, clutching a Luo umbrella artifact, and called out loudly. Spare you, of course we can, as long as you hand over the fortunes from the ruins. One of the figures spoke directly. Fortunes from the ruins? You may be mistaken, I'm just an ordinary cultivator. How could I possess such opportunities? Lu Rui still didn't understand why she had attracted such attention. Everyone who had explored the ruins with her had died there. Logically, no one should know. Since that's the case, you can go and die. A cultivator at the 9th level energy refinement brandished a flying dagger and lunged at Lu Rui. Clang! Lu Rui opened her Luo umbrella, which bloomed with glossy radiance to fend off the attack. But the falling leaf artifact beneath her almost lost balance, nearly causing her to fall. Facing such pursuit, she could only defend herself while continuing to flee. As for handing over the opportunity, it was clear in her heart that stopping would mean certain death. Just then, a golden spirit boat approached this place. Aboard the spirit boat stood a man and a woman, with the man looking down at the situation below and effortlessly producing a several feet long golden sword light with a flick of his finger. The sword light streaked through the air with extreme sharpness, swiftly piercing the foreheads of the 5 cultivators at energy refinement late stage, creating blood holes as they tumbled to the ground with a thud. Ah! Lu Rui, staring at the scene before her, was stunned and somewhat confused. What was going on? She looked up at the man and woman on the spirit boat, her eyes showing a tinge of bewilderment. Weren't these her own siblings coming to her aid? But when did she have such formidable brothers and sisters? And she had never seen them before. However, the woman did bear a resemblance to Auntie Miaoga, about 7 or 8 points similar. I am Lu Rui from Bihu Mountain. Greetings to both of you. Lu Rui cupped her hands in salute, nervously introducing herself. Rui sister? I am Qingzhu Lu Qingzhu. Lu Qingzhu, with her garments fluttering, descended from the spirit boat, speaking with some joy. She had some recollection of Lu Rui. It's just that they hadn't seen each other for decades, and both underwent significant changes, failing to recognize one another. Chapter 1110. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. Chapter 1110. Chapter 390. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. Qingzhu, your sister Qingzhu? Lu Rui looked at the Foundation Establishment senior before her with some astonishment, not expecting it to be Auntie Miaoga's daughter, Lu Qingzhu. She had a considerable impression of Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu. She knew that they were taken as disciples by a great master in their early years and were not at home. She immediately guessed Lu Qingshan's identity through his facial features and stature. In her heart, she couldn't help but feel startled and envious. Lu Qingshan. Lu Qingshan controlled the spirit boat as he descended, looking at Lu Rui before him, calmly indicating his identity. His own father truly had too many children. Apart from his sister Lu Qingzhu and his brother Lu Qingsong, he didn't feel much for his other siblings. For someone like Lu Rui right before him, he even felt a bit estranged. Qingshan, Qingzhu, thank you both. Lu Rui didn't mind Lu Qingshan's attitude and expressed her gratitude. Then she briefly explained her own situation and why she was attacked. Since Rui's sister is planning to return home, why not go with us? My brother and I are also going back. Lu Qingzhu spoke in a tranquil and gentle voice. Okay. Lu Rui nodded her head. Humming. At that moment, Lu Rui frowned slightly as an ancient and dim box, seemingly made from dried wood, appeared in her hands. This was one of the treasures she obtained from the ruins, the material of which she did not know and couldn't open. She thought of having her father look at it after returning home. But at this moment the long box strangely had some movements as if it felt close to Lu Qingshan. Qingshan, this is a box I obtained from the ruins earlier. It has always been silent, but now it seems to feel a certain closeness to you, Lu Rui said with a slightly weird expression. This sort of occurrence was very rare. If a treasure was sentient, it should at least be a legendary spiritual treasure. But if this box was a spiritual treasure, wouldn't that be astounding? Oh. Lu Qingshan, hearing this, raised his eyebrows slightly in curiosity, took the wooden box from Lu Rui, and immediately sensed a wave of affinity and longing. He tried to pour his own sword chi into the box. The surface of what had originally seemed like a wooden box suddenly shone with dazzling light, and with a crack, it opened and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Inside, a sword embryo lay quietly. This sword embryo, only 3 feet long and unsealed, looked blunt and inconspicuous, and quietly floated in front of Lu Qingshan. This is a divine object concealing itself, choosing its master on its own. Lu Qingzhu said with some surprise after seeing this situation. Lu Rui nearby heard this and was completely baffled. What was going on? Was the most precious thing she obtained from the ruins in fact this sword embryo? Yet she had acquired a great treasure without recognizing its value. You have a good eye. Lu Qingshan looked at the sword embryo before him, chuckled lightly and stretched out his hand to grasp the sword embryo, saying, "Let's see if you are worthy of being my sword." In an instant, as the sword embryo was held in Lu Qingshan's hand and filled with his sword qi and mana, it burst into a magnificent stardust brilliance. With a single slash forward, the simple-looking sword embryo seemed to trigger a meteor shower, stars shining brilliantly, majestic and imposing, causing the space in front to explode violently, creating ravines of sword qi. Heavenly Circulation Starry Sword Technique. Lu Qingshan holding this sword sensed a stream of information and a sword technique. He knew the sword's name was Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword, which was originally nurtured with sentience and was a 4th rank flying sword. However, due to its master's demise without mana cultivation, it had fallen from a 4th rank flying sword to a 3rd rank sword embryo, with nearly extinguished spirit. This last wisp of spirit sensed Lu Qingshan's sword intent and thus recognized him as its master automatically. As for this sword technique, it was a cultivation technique inheritance from the original master, named Heavenly Circulation Starry Sword Technique. Sword Charging Bull's Might Heavenly Circulation Starry Sword Technique. The names do seem quite fitting. Lu Qingshan's lips curled up slightly as he inwardly sighed, feeling that he truly was a child of fortune. Previously his old man acquired a sword embryo by chance but couldn't use it and gave it to him. Now this affordable sister picked up a sword embryo which she also couldn't utilize, and it immediately recognized him as master. Rui sister, this sword is fated to be with me and has already acknowledged me as the master. If there's anything you need, I can provide compensation. Lu Qingshan spoke as the sword embryo transformed into a streak of starlight and entered his body. Following his meridians, it entered the sea of qi and elixir lake within, enjoying the nourishment and warmth of his mana. Although this sword's grade had fallen and degraded, as long as it is properly nurtured, it will be much simpler to advance later on. Moreover, in Lu Qingshan's eyes, falling to a sword embryo was also a blessing. During this nurturing process he could shape it into the form he desired. Since this sword is fated for you, Qingshan, take it, consider it recompense for just now when you saved my life. Lu Rui shook her head. She had previously read about treasures choosing their owners in tales. But to really face it herself, she still felt somewhat bitter. After all, anyone with clear eyes could see that such an opportunity was not simple. However, thinking that the chosen one was her own brother, she felt a little more at ease. If some robber cultivator had stolen it and this situation of the treasure choosing its master had arisen, she would have been extremely aggrieved. Rui sister, you are preparing to return home for Foundation establishment. Here are some Foundation establishment elixirs, Foundation establishment spirit objects, and cultivation elixir medicines. Seeing the situation, Lu Qingzhu immediately took out various treasures and elixirs from her storage bag and handed them to Lu Rui. Her brother was known for being straightforward and did not like to owe favors. Though they were siblings, she still tried her best to offer compensation, so that her brother wouldn't have to worry about owing a debt of gratitude and not knowing how to broach the subject. Isn't this unnecessary? Lu Rui was somewhat tempted but embarrassed to say so. You need these, and since both my brother and I have already achieved Foundation establishment, we have no use for them. It turns out you, Rui sister, are just about to prepare for Foundation establishment. Chapter 1111. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. Chapter 1111. Chapter 390. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. Lu Qingzhu said with a gentle laugh, making her approachable and as refreshing as a spring breeze. Lu Qingshan, upon seeing this, did not speak and with a wave of his hand, disposed of the 5 bodies of the robber cultivators, and piloted the spirit boat, carrying the 2 back to Bai Lake Mountain. A month later, Lu Qingshan along with Lu Qingzhu and Lu Rui returned to Bai Lake Mountain. Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaohuan were overjoyed to hear that their siblings had come back. Mom, why do you look like a demon cultivator, all demonically charming? Lu Qingshan couldn't help but tease upon seeing his mother's appearance. No one would take you for a mute if you stayed quiet. Lu Miaohuan responded to his comment with dismay, smacking the back of her son's head as she spoke. Her delicate nose was perky. Her lips painted a bewitching blood red, radiant as if dripping with charm. Her eyes lightly shadowed, resembling a female boss with dramatic makeup. Auntie looks very elegant and beautiful. Lu Qingzhu covered her mouth, laughing softly with her gentle demeanor. Only in front of their parents would her brother act like a boy who had never grown up. Little Zhu has gotten better at speaking. Lu Miaohuan tapped her son on the forehead and then, holding Lu Qing's hand with surprise, exclaimed, "Ah, little Zhu, you've broken through to foundation establishment." Due to her inherent qualities from the abyssal ghoul blossom, she had already reached the 4th layer of foundation establishment and could tell Lu Qing's cultivation level at a glance. Yes, thanks to brother, I was able to make the breakthrough to foundation establishment. Lu Qingzhu glanced at her brother with a smile. He's finally sensible. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaohuan's beautiful face broke into a smile. She then inquired about the years at Jinyang sect and the historic sword scripture trial at Heavenly Sword sect. Though she had learned much through messages, listening to her son tell it was a completely different experience. Rui, it must have been tough these past years being outside. How did you encounter Qingshan and Qingzhu? Lu Miaoge expressed concern about Lu Rui's situation. Their mother was a mere mortal who had left for Rui Prefecture with other children early on and was not at Bai Lake Mountain. Auntie, I was in danger and being chased. Thanks to Qingshan and Qingzhu I was saved. Lu Rui looked mature, appearing to be 27 or 28, having consumed a preserving youth pill. Are you all right? Which power was it? Lu Miaoge asked with a gentle and soothing demeanor. Auntie, I'm fine. It was probably just a few loose cultivators. Lu Rui shook her head lightly in response. All right, we'll discuss it more when we return home. Tonight, I will hold a feast to wash away the dust for you. Lu Miaoge led her 3 children back to Baiyun Peak. She then took Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu to visit Lu Qingqi and Lu Qingxian. Qingxian, Qingxi, these are your brother Qingshan and sister Qingzhu. Lu Miaoge introduced the two to the little ones. The siblings were 5 years old. One lively and active, the other quiet and polite. Brother, sister. Lu Qingqi, very outgoing, rushed forward to hug Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu, chatting away with curiosity about their adventures. Having been told much about Lu Qingshan early on, she held her previously unseen brother in high admiration. Beside her, Lu Qingxian remained quiet and gentle, greeting his brother and sister before listening to his sister Lu Qingqi chatting with the newly arrived brother and sister. Mom, where's Dad? At this moment, Lu Qingshan, noticing that his father had not appeared, asked. Your father is busy dealing with some matter. He has gone to the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Lu Miaohuan informed directly. Do my birth characters clash with Dad's? Why is he never home when I am? Lu Qingshan, while holding his sister Lu Qingqi, remarked somewhat speechlessly. He had wanted to consult his father about the 7 luminaries' great freedom sword scripture now that he had achieved foundation establishment. He was becoming increasingly aware of the depth of this cultivation technique and felt he needed his father's guidance to comprehend the subsequent teachings. Your father should be out for about a year. With a few months left, he should be returning. How long do you plan to stay home this trip? Lu Miaoge spoke gently like water. There's no rush, our sect has nothing urgent for the time being. Lu Qingshan grinned, then began to inquire about his brother Lu Qingsong and his grandfather's affairs. On the periphery of the Myriad Beasts mountain range, a group of energy-refining cultivators was being chased by a second-rank huge bear. Even at the energy refinement late stage, they were no match for this giant bear. Just as they were driven to a dead end, a roar that pierced the sky, splitting the heavens, suddenly came from the depths of the mountain range. Roar. The roar was like a thunderstorm, rolling and tumultuous, shaking the trees and scattering leaves, making one's spirit tremble. Those who were already in dire straits upon hearing this roar, lost control of their spiritual power and stumbled, falling to the ground. Just as they were in despair and thought they were going to be smashed by the bear, they saw the fearsome giant bear howl towards the sky and then sprint towards the depths of the mountain range. What's going on? The group looked at each other in disbelief, not understanding what had happened. Was that roar just now the voice of a third-rank demon king? A demon king. Could it be that the Myriad Beasts mountain range is about to experience a beast tide again? Isn't a demon beast tide supposed to happen only once every 100 years or so? They were confused, but the next moment they felt a tremendous aura surging overhead. Looking up, they saw a meteor streaking across the sky towards the outer edge of the Myriad Beasts mountain range, happening so quickly they couldn't make sense of it. However, at this moment, a huge and ferocious beast resembling a wolf or a tiger, with wings on its back and roaring with thunder, perched in the sky, growling and howling, its intimidating presence turning their faces pale and churning their blood. After a while, the fierce beast reluctantly returned to the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Is that the third-rank demon king Wind Thunder Hound? One of them swallowed, his voice hoarse. That roar just now must have been from the Wind Thunder Hound. Chapter 11-12. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. _4 Chapter 11-12. Chapter 390. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. Whence did the Wind Thunder Hound come to this outer area? Just now a comet-like streak shot across the sky, resembling the escape light of a true pill master? Could it be that a true pill master provoked the Wind Thunder Hound? A few speculated about the recent events. They dared not chat more, swiftly consuming elixir medicines to regain some strength before they left the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Regardless, the appearance of the Wind Thunder Hound indicated that something was amiss in the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Indeed, a beast tide might well occur. Once a beast tide occurs, energy-refining cultivators like them, if not back in the marketplace, would undoubtedly perish. At the same time, several hundred miles away from the Myriad Beasts mountain range, the comet landed on the ground, revealing the figures of a man and a woman. The man wore a dark, luxurious robe with a handsome, unparalleled face, though currently somewhat disheveled. The woman had a graceful demeanor, dressed in a lake blue skirt, her posture elegant and movements delicate. Damn Wind Thunder Hound, once I break through to core formation you'll be slaughtered. Lu Chongqing cursed discontentedly. He had been joyfully pushing through the demon beasts in the Myriad Beasts mountain range, seizing the spiritual vein origins, unaware of what offended the Wind Thunder Hound, which suddenly attacked him. The Wind Thunder Hound was formidable, rumored to have the bloodline of an ancient true hound and awakened innate divine ability. Lu Chongqing, accompanied by Ling Zixiao, naturally couldn't confront it. Whether they could defeat it was one thing. There were other demon kings within the Myriad Beasts mountain range. Should he conflict with the Wind Thunder Hound, attracting the gaze of other demon kings, that would be troublesome. Thus, given the circumstances, he could only flee with Ling Zixiao. This was his, Lu first disgraceful escape since beginning his adventures. If it weren't for the Starlight Plate, the 9 treasure Jade Rui and the 3rd rank Spirit Talisman's enhancement, he couldn't even outrun the Wind Thunder Hound, but only resort to endless guileful head and talisman formation for a swift decision. Lord, you've seized too many spiritual vein origins, some of which are feeder veins of other large spirit veins, likely affecting this Wind Thunder Hound. Or perhaps the previously slain frenzied Thunder Tiger and certain demon beasts are related to this Wind Thunder Hound. Ling Zixiao spoke with a smile. It was her first time seeing her lord disadvantaged. Perhaps due to her infinite trust in Lu Chongqing, facing a 3rd-rank demon king like the Wind Thunder Hound, she wasn't frightened at all. And indeed, Lu Chongqing, as she trusted, had astounding escape techniques, his speed even exceeding typical core formation true masters, making even the 3rd-rank demon king unable to catch up. Possibly. Lu Chongqing nodded. Although he did not provoke any 3rd-rank demon kings, this forceful pushing through 2nd-order monster beasts might have drawn the attention of a 3rd-rank demon king. Lord, this type of demon king is highly intelligent and has keen senses. If you continue to seize spiritual vein origins, you must distance from this area, otherwise you will continue to attract the Wind Thunder Hound's attention. Ling Zixiao continued. The gains from this trip are plentiful enough. There's no need to relocate. Lu Chongqing shook his head. This trip, despite being noticed by the Wind Thunder Hound, was otherwise very smooth and fruitful. Judging by his assessments, the seized spiritual vein origins were sufficient to nurture the Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven's spiritual vein to 2nd tier top level, and potentially upgrade the Lingxiu Cliff to 2nd tier. Hence he planned to return home directly. Moreover, the storage bags he brought were almost full. Continuing would be a waste. All right. Ling Zixiao responded with a light smile. She then set up a formation to conceal their aura, waiting for their mana to recover before returning to Bai Lake Mountain. The intensive escape greatly exhausted Lu Chongqing. If not for the profound origin bead, his mana would not even hold up. If I had exerted my full strength, I wonder if I could suppress that winged thunder hound. Lu Chongqing, holding 2 high-quality spirit stones, sat cross-legged in meditation, pondering. He had hundreds of third-rank talismans in his hands. Setting up a talisman formation to bomb a third-rank demon king was naturally feasible. However, faced with the Wind Thunder Hound's innate divine ability, he wasn't entirely confident. When Lu Chongqing fully recovered, setting off with Ling Zixiao to return to Bai Lake Mountain, the incident involving the Wind Thunder Hound from Myriad Beast Mountain Range also reached the Spirit Taming Sect. The Spirit Taming Sect, upon hearing of this, dispatched people to investigate, unaware why the Wind Thunder Hound acted thus. Still cautious about any movements in the Myriad Beasts Mountain Range due to the beast tide that had severely damaged their vital energy 30 years ago. Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu, along with Lu Qingqi and Lu Qingxian, visited their grandfather, Lu Yuanding, at Qingzhou Mountain. Lu Yuanding was over 100 years old. Even after consuming many treasure medicines and lifespan extension pills, he appeared quite aged with distinctly white hair. Seeing his grandchildren and granddaughter, he was immensely happy. His spirits lifted considerably. Especially upon witnessing both of his daughter's foundation establishment breakthrough, his excitement was unparalleled. Having 3 foundation establishment cultivators secure his family, something he couldn't even dream about in his early years, made him feel his life was complete. Qingxian, when you grow up, cultivate diligently just like your brother and sister. Lu Yuanding saw the 2 children, reminded of Lu Qingshan and Lu Qing's childish days, his voice gentle and kind. Grandfather, rest assured, when I grow up, I'll cultivate diligently, not only to break foundation, but to become a core formation true master. Lu Qingqi, grasping her grandfather's beard with her little hand, chirped cheerily. Very well, when you break through core formation, come to Qingzhou Mountain and tell grandfather. Lu Yuanding, holding his granddaughter, laughed heartily. Just then Lu Yuanzhong with Lu Qinghua arrived at the small courtyard, greeting Lu Yuanding, Lu Qingshan and others. Chapter 1113. Zhou Tian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. _5 Chapter 1113. Chapter 390. Zhou Tian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. _5 moments later, Lu Yuanding turned to Lu Qingshan and asked gently, Qingshan, would it be convenient for you to have a sparring match with Qinghua? Just now, Lu Yuanzhong expressed his wishes to know the gap between their direct lineage and the talents of the immortal sex. The Qingzhou Mountain of today is not what it used to be. The family's powerful cultivation technique bestowed by Lu Chongqing is the Pan-Yuan turning technique. Lu Qinghua not only possesses exceptional talent but is also the only person in the family who has succeeded in cultivating this technique. At these words, Lu Qingshan looked at Lu Qinghua standing next to him, who was at the foundation establishment first layer of cultivation level. Under normal circumstances, cultivators like him were by no means worthy of sparring with him. However, since his own grandfather had spoken, he nodded and said with a light smile, "Of course that's possible. It's kind of you, Uncle Qingshan." Lu Qinghua, several years older than Lu Qingshan but still speaking with considerable courtesy according to the generational hierarchy, still carried a bit of pride in his brows. After all, he is the only one in Qingzhou Mountain who cultivated the Pan-Yuan turning technique, and the first in the family to condense a Dao foundation without flaw. He believes that even if he is not as excellent as a top talent like Lu Qingshan, he would not be too far behind. Instantly, several people moved to an open area of Qingzhou Mountain. Make your move. Lu Qingshan stood tall and slim, resembling a heavenly sword himself, and spoke. Aren't you going to draw your sword, Qingshan? Lu Yuanding, knowing his grandson is a sword cultivator, was puzzled to see him not drawing his sword. Were it anyone else who said this, Lu Qingshan might have retorted with, "Do you even merit my sword?" But since it's his grandfather, he curbed his reaction and merely said with a smile, "It's just a spar. Uncle Qingshan, please forgive my offense." Lu Chenghua's eyes sharpened slightly as he spoke, his hands forming gesture incantations and mana flowing around him, emitting a strong and profound aura. Immediately, an earthen yellow magic ring appeared and pressed down, rotating heavily towards Lu Qingshan. Facing such an offensive, Lu Qingshan flicked his finger, releasing sword qi that immediately shattered the magic ring. On the sideline, both Lu Yuanzhong and Lu Yuanding were taken aback. Even Lu Qinghua felt a moment of breathlessness. He hadn't expected his attack to be so easily negated. His expression grew solemn as he repeatedly performed gesture incantations, with two magic rings forming around him and overlapping rotations pressing down towards Lu Qingshan. But still, with a flick of Lu Qingshan's finger, sharp sword light burst forth, shattering the magic rings once again. Lu Qingzhu, standing at the side, hoped her brother would take it easy. But knowing that her brother never did such things on normal occasions. And besides, with Lu Chenghua's skill level, her brother would have to act. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to pull punches. She whispered to her grandfather, "Grandfather, my brother's skill is quite formidable. It's not evident in regular sparring, but Chenghua's strength is already quite impressive." Upon hearing these words and seeing the situation unfold, Lu Yuanding didn't know what to say. Meanwhile, Lu Yuanzhong was flooded with shock. He knew very well Lu Chenghua's capabilities, not much weaker than his own. Yet before Lu Qingshan it was like a child without threat. Didn't it imply that if Lu Qingshan genuinely made his move, he could almost instantaneously vanquish both him and Lu Qinghua? "Thank you for your guidance, Uncle Qingshan." Lu Qinghua gave a wry smile at the side, sighing helplessly. The sparring match ended in quite a dramatic fashion. However, Lu Qingshan considered Lu Chenghua's strength to be more than passable, ranking in the upper middle level among the immortal sects. Hearing this, Lu Yuanzhong felt much more relieved. The family had devoted much effort and awaited over a decade to cultivate Lu Qinghua. If he turned out to be only inferior within the immortal sects, it would indeed be a despairing outcome. Yet through this sparring, they had gained a rough idea of the prowess of the immortal sect geniuses and nascent soul seeds. A month later, Lu Chongxing and Ling Zixiao returned to Bai Lake Mountain. Qingshan and Qingzhu are back? Just arriving home, Lu Chongxing received news of his children's return, revealing a faint smile on his face. He thought that it was timely of him to return home. Had he delayed for a few more months, perhaps his children would have already returned to the Jinyang sect again. However, upon hearing that Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu went to Qingzhu Mountain and White Tiger Mountain, he arrived at Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven and summoned out one mountain and river cauldron after another. Mount Sumeru. Lu Chongxing called out to Mount Sumeru. He needn't arrange any formations as Mount Sumeru could refine the origin source on its own, using it to nourish the spirit veins. "Yes, Master." Mount Sumeru replied with an ethereal and melodious voice, bringing each mountain and river cauldron deep into the earth's meridians. Yet Lu Chongxing kept one mountain and river cauldron, preparing to use it later to upgrade his Lingtue cliff used for cultivating and nurturing spiritual medicines. Afterward, Lu Chongxing gave a pile of monster cores to Hong Lian, embedding them within the ancient beast taming charm. His Blackwater Dragon spirit weapon had been under cultivation. This resource-intensive entity had been limited in its growth due to his limited resources in these years, so he had cut back on investment in this area. Now that he had monster cores, he naturally fed all of them, hoping to soon produce a few second-rank Dao soldiers and see their effects. Having finished these tasks, Lu Chongxing remembered he still had a lottery draw and went to the summit under the Mount Sumeru tree, thinking to himself, "System lottery draw. Ding. Congratulations to the host on obtaining the heavenly fragrance goo. The reward has been placed in the system space and the host can check it at any time." An image of a pink caterpillar emerged from the spinning wheel, accompanied by a system notification sound. Goo insect? Lu Chengsheng's brow rose slightly upon seeing this prize. With the experience from owning the peach blossom goo and the hope goo, he had a rather positive impression of the system's goo insects. He felt such items could come more frequently, liking them for their usefulness. His mental spirit stirred slightly as he glanced into the system space. Goo insect. Heavenly fragrance goo. Quality. Heavenly spirit goo. Description. The heavenly Tao contains yin and yang, while humans possess good and evil, righteousness and wickedness, beauty and ugliness. The fragrant is loved by all, and those of heavenly fragrance are favored by the world. Chapter 11:14. Zhou Tian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. _6 Chapter 1114. Chapter 390. Zhou Xian Star Fighting Sword Embryo Heavenly Fragrance Goo. _6. The effects of this heavenly fragrance goo. Why does it seem a bit like the flawless heavenly fragrance body? Lu Chongqing gazed at the heavenly fragrance goo before him, his eyes slightly congealed. Regarding his flawless heavenly fragrance body through Honglian, he had a general understanding of its effects. This spiritual body can be divided into two parts. Innocence. Heavenly fragrance. The innocence part allows the possessor of the spiritual body to be pure throughout, with all meridians unobstructed, no bottlenecks before foundation establishment, a lifespan different from ordinary people, and extraordinary resistance to poisons in the flesh, reducing elixir toxicity. As for the heavenly fragrance part, the most obvious effect is the fragrance produced by the body. This scent can make one feel affectionate, and even have a heart-stirring effect during intimate moments between men and women. According to Honglian, if the possessor of the flawless heavenly fragrance body were to break through to the core formation stage, they would somehow be favored by the heavens and earth, enhancing their fortune by a few points. Although this talk of fortune is very mystical and hard to verify. But when breaking through from core formation to nascent soul, indeed the nascent soul heavenly tribulation faced by the flawless heavenly fragrance body will be somewhat weaker. Extract. Lu Chongqing extracted this heavenly fragrance goo. Instantly he gained a detailed understanding of this goo insect. It really does share some similarities with the flawless heavenly fragrance body. Lu Chongqing, holding the heavenly fragrance goo in his hand, was surprised. Once refined, this heavenly fragrance goo could make its owner emanate a body fragrance that endears them to others. After the goo insect ascends to second transformation, the effect of this fragrance will further strengthen, not only making others feel affectionate but also rendering them reluctant to harm the owner. When the goo insect ascends to third transformation, even enemies who smell this fragrance would soften their hearts and become unwilling to inflict harm. Upon reaching fourth transformation, this fragrance could indeed start improving destiny and fortune in subtle ways. However, breeding this heavenly fragrance goo is quite troublesome. At first transformation it's manageable, just needing the scent of ordinary flowers. At second transformation, this flower scent must come from the fragrance of rare spiritual medicines. For third transformation, promoting the heavenly fragrance goo becomes very challenging. It requires the fragrance of heaven and earth spirit plants and spirit flowers. As for fourth transformation, it's no longer about ordinary fragrances, but divine scents, which are the incense offered in others' beliefs. Breeding this heavenly fragrance goo is too difficult, isn't it? Goo like peach blossom goo is much simpler. Hope goo doesn't even need to be bred. I possess the flawless heavenly fragrance body peach blossom goo, and if I refine this heavenly fragrance goo on top of that, I might really become a male enchantress. Lu Chongqing looked at the goo worm, stroked his chin and mused to himself. But he had no intention of refining this heavenly fragrance goo. Like now, he always keeps the fragrance of the flawless heavenly fragrance body sealed away. Only during dual cultivation would he use it for some romantic fun. Otherwise, what kind of image would a grown man emit fragrance wherever he goes? With the addition of another heavenly fragrance goo, there would really be a scented breeze with every step. Thinking of this scene made Lu Chongqing shudder. When I eventually travel to the Jin Kingdom, I should prepare some gifts for Yao Yao. Since she was born into the five poisons cult, she might have some kind of life-bound goo worm. This heavenly fragrance goo would make a good meeting gift for her. Lu Chongqing thought of his daughter whom he had yet to meet. This daughter, being the possessor of the flawless heavenly fragrance body, would benefit greatly on her path of growth if she could refine this heavenly fragrance goo. And fragrance, such a thing for a grown man like him, feels strange. But for a cute, lovely and beautiful young girl, it would be quite normal. I wonder how Yao Yao is doing right now. Lu Chongqing couldn't help but sigh when he thought that his daughter had already achieved foundation establishment. He felt that so much time had passed. When he goes to the Jin Kingdom, it will be time to meet his daughter, Meng Xiaochan. He really wanted to take his daughter home, but unless he brought her back by force, it would likely not be easy. Chapter 1115. The Golden Silkworm Goo and the Six-Winged Golden Silkworm. Chapter 1115. Chapter 391. The Golden Silkworm Goo and the Six-Winged Golden Silkworm. This is the Three Suns Elixir. It can dispel hidden injuries and potential problems in your body, just like the bright sunshine eradicating them all. These 3 bottles of 100 herbs elixir can nourish your meridians and flesh, and this jade liquid spiritual wine has the effect of condensing your spiritual power. Drinking a cup every day can improve your foundation. As for foundation establishment elixirs, Daddy here has some top-grade foundation establishment elixirs. In the Lu family mansion, Lu Chongxing looked at his daughter Lu Rui and said with a smile. His daughter had matured a lot after being away for so many years. Her brows now bore a trace of severe and evil qi. Without even thinking, he knew that she must have suffered a lot while being outside. Now that she was back home preparing for her foundation establishment, he, as a father, naturally wouldn't be stingy. Even though his daughter only possessed an 8th grade spiritual root and had a slim chance of breaking through, he would prepare everything thoroughly. Daddy. Lu Rui looked at the elixirs and spiritual wine handed to her by her father, her lips slightly parted and a warm current flowing in her heart. Having seen the cruelty of the cultivation world, where countless people fought and killed each other for a few hundred or even dozens of spirit stones. Seeing her father's generous gesture now, she felt somewhat dazed. But thinking back when she left, her father did the same, preparing elixir medicines, talismans, magic artifacts and puppets all for them. As for foundation establishment spiritual objects, our home doesn't have suitable ones at the moment, but I've asked your Aunt Miao Yun to purchase them externally and prioritize your needs. You've had a hard time outside all these years, relax a little now that you're back home. Lu Chongxing reached out to touch his daughter's head, his smile gentle. Daddy, what if I fail in breaking through? Facing such profound paternal love, Lu Rui felt some pressure swell within her heart. With only an 8th grade spiritual root and despite all the preparations, her chances of foundation establishment were at most 20 to 30%. Foundation establishment involves success and failure. It's all very normal. Just consume and refine these and you should be ready for your attempt at foundation establishment. Even if you fail, you can try a second time, it's not a big deal. Lu Chongxing said cheerfully. For a child who was willing to give it their all, he was also willing to provide a few more chances. Lu Rui was taken aback by these seemingly light-hearted words. But she understood that her father didn't want her to feel pressured. Daddy, rest assured, I will certainly not let you down. Lu Rui spoke with a hint of heroism in her brows. Although her father hadn't demanded much from his sons and daughters since childhood, implying that doing their best was enough, it was precisely because of this that she felt even less willing to disappoint her father. Good, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Cultivate in peace, and if there's anything you can come to me. If I'm not around, seek out your Aunt Miao Yun. Lu Chongxing said with a smile. After settling his daughter's matters for the time being, Lu Chongxing went to find his daughter Lu Wangshu, concerned about her progress in the talisman path during his absence. After checking Lu Wangshu's talisman path progress, Lu Chongxing advised her to stabilize it further. Daddy, if this continues, my cultivation level will really be surpassed by Ling Xiao. Where will I put my face then? Lu Wangshu complained somewhat aggrievedly. How could that be? You should be confident in yourself. Isn't the 99 mystical talisman scripture you are cultivating meant for accumulating power over time? Once you break through to foundation establishment, won't you be incomparable? Lu Chongxing saw the look on his daughter and couldn't help but laugh inwardly, comforting her soothingly. But he thought to himself whether he should provide his son Lu Lingxiao with some additional challenges to give his daughter a sense of urgency and motivation to strive harder. Once his daughter gets defeated by Lu Lingxiao, then he could strengthen her again. Daddy, are you secretly thrilled inside thinking that this will pressure me? Lu Wangshu pouted at her father and said, what if your treasured daughter gets so disheartened that she never recovers? Tell me, what do you want? Lu Chongxing glanced at his daughter, not believing for a moment she would become so disheartened. Whimper, so this is what I am in Daddy's heart. Lu Wangshu looked aggrieved. If you don't say now, there won't be another chance. Lu Chongxing said straightforwardly. I just want you to cultivate a Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus for me. Lu Wangshu immediately cozied up to her old father, speaking affectionately, Daddy, as you know, drawing talismans in the void consumes a lot of mana. And no matter how much I save now, once I break through to foundation establishment and lack mana, I won't be able to do anything. You really do think far ahead. Lu Chongxing chuckled and said, cultivating a Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus is too troublesome and takes too long. When the time comes, Daddy will give you another treasure instead. Hee Daddy, I knew you loved me the most. Lu Wangshu said cheerfully. Though she felt pressure from the progress of Lu Lingxia's cultivation level. She never believed that he could win against her. 3 days later, Lu Qingshan and Lu Qingzhu returned from White Tiger Mountain and Flower Fruit Mountain back to Bai Lake Mountain. Little Zhu. Lu Chongxing looked at his gentle and peaceful daughter Lu Qingzhu with a smile on his face and embraced her, sharing a hug of reunion after a long time. Then he patted his son's shoulder and nodded, "Not bad." He knew without asking that his daughter's breakthrough in the foundation establishment was related to his son, and he was quite satisfied with that. Moreover, not seeing his son for over a decade, there were some visible changes, his sword intent no longer as sharp and unveiled. Lu Chongxing knew this was progress on the sword Dao. As the family gathered and chatted about old times, Lu Qingshan mentioned the opportunity he obtained from Lu Rui. "Regarding Rui, I will provide her with compensation." Lu Chongxing spoke out, asking Lu Qingshan to show him the sword embryo. He had seen countless magic artifacts, even heavenly spirit treasures, but he had never seen a spiritual treasure. Whoosh! Lu Qingshan took out the simple and unadorned Zhou Xian star fighting sword. Chapter 11:16. Golden Silkworm Gu and Six-Winged Golden Silkworm. Chapter 11:16. Chapter 391. Golden Silkworm Gu and Six-Winged Golden Silkworm. After his days of nurturing, this sword embryo has gained a bit more luster. This sword embryo is quite good, but it lacks some sharpness for you. You can gather some essence gold and later I will help you refine it again. Lu Chongxing, as a third-order top-level artifact refiner, saw the condition of this sword embryo at a glance. The sword is naturally excellent, but its compatibility with Lu Qingshan is only about 70%. If this sword embryo serves as the core, mixed with a large amount of essence gold as spiritual materials, the sharpness of the flying sword would be greatly enhanced, making it more suitable for Lu Qingshan. "Father, you know artifact refining too?" Lu Qingshan said in surprise. "Fairly decent. Understanding one method opens doors to many. I know a bit or two." Lu Chongxing replied with a smile. Lu Qingshan was somewhat skeptical, finding it unbelievable that his own father also understood artifact refining. He did not say anything but asked for guidance on the 7 luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture. Naturally, Lu Chongxing did not hide his skills. Initially, he had not taught everything because saying too much would have been incomprehensible to the other party. Under Lu Changsheng's guidance, Lu Qingshan had a moment of enlightenment and went on to closed-door cultivation. Seeing this, Lu Chongxing smiled and felt moved by his son's extraordinarily remarkable talent in the sword Dao. Afterward, he cared about his daughter Lu Qingzu's situation, asking about her daily life. His son Lu Qingshan, with his carefree nature, shone brightly outside and naturally would not find life boring. But his daughter Lu Qingzhu, with her calm temperament, probably found life somewhat monotonous and dull. "Daddy." Facing her father's care, Lu Qingzhu responded gently and tenderly that her life was fine, and her brother Lu Qingshan always took great care of her. The only concern was her brother's personality. If treated unfairly, he could suffer greatly, and she hoped Lu Chongxing could perhaps give some gentle advice. Sigh. Lu Chongxing sighed softly, knowing that his son Lu Qingshan's behavior was difficult to change, partly because that was just his nature. Moreover, it was also subtly influenced by the integration with the seed of law. If one day his personality changed drastically, no longer being sharp and distinct, it could also shatter his sword heart. "Little Zhu, you can also keep an eye on him." Lu Chongxing gently rubbed his daughter's head, speaking softly. He gave his only second-order top-level puppet to his daughter, along with 10 third-rank talismans. "Don't let your brother find out." Lu Chongxing looked at his daughter's surprised expression and chuckled softly. If Lu Qingshan knew, this youngster might become even more wildly confident. "Daddy." Lu Qingzhu pursed her lips gently. As a disciple of the Jinyang sect and a foundation establishment cultivator, she naturally knew the value of the second-order top-level puppet and third-rank talismans. Such high-grade puppets and talismans were nearly impossible to buy in the marketplace. "Keep these. You both are often away from home and Dad can't be by your side, so you have to take care of yourselves." Lu Chongxing watched his daughter's composed demeanor and spoke gently. "Thank you, Daddy." Lu Qingzhu smiled softly. After spending half a month with his wives and children at home, Lu Chongxing began his closed-door cultivation. Although he had not practiced during his year in the Myriad Beasts mountain range, he had accrued a lot of cultivation and magical power through his children. He planned to take advantage of these days when the spirit vein was upgrading to make a big push and condense the remaining 9 yin-yang primordial pills. Then he would harvest the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus, refine it to form his second Dantian, and start condensing 36 more yin-yang primordial pills. By then, the spirit vein of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven would have mostly been cultivated and upgraded, and he could begin his core formation. Gene Kingdom Immortal Spider Marketplace. Buzzing. The marketplace's great formation began operating, shrouded in mist and brimming with spiritual light, vaguely showing a gigantic blood jade spider dominating, enveloping the entire marketplace, barring everyone from entry or exit. Outside the drunk Immortal Pavilion, a beautiful purple-dressed young lady approached gracefully. Her purple veil hid her real face, making it unclear. Yet her snow-white skin that seemed to coalesce, her long willowy brows, and her eyes shimmering like the azure waves of stars, could captivate countless men. Many cultivators seeing this young lady couldn't help but reveal a look of amazement, unable to move their eyes from her extraordinary demeanor. "Miss Sue, what's happening?" The purple-dressed girl entered the hall, looking at a black-clad beautiful woman and asked softly. Her voice was gentle like a soft breeze, enchanting like celestial music. "Miss, we just discovered that junior sister Lu Dai was secretly slain here in the marketplace, so I activated the formation to prevent the assassin from escaping," the beautiful woman said immediately. "Are there any leads?" The girl tilted her head and inquired. "This person's methods are very peculiar. The traces on the corpse show the corpse evil chi of the Heavenly Corpse sect, the ghost energy of the Yiming Ghost sect, and the blood evil energy of the Gong family," the beautiful woman said softly, leading the girl to examine the corpse. "Do we have people from these forces in our marketplace?" The girl's eyes sparkled entrancingly. "Yes, these forces all have representatives stationed here in our marketplace," the beautiful woman whispered. "Then let's go." The girl's purple gown fluttered as her lush black hair cascaded down her slim waist, beautiful as a celestial being. "Ah, where to?" The beautiful woman was stunned. "To capture them." The girl's eyes twinkled, her veiled face revealing a sweet and enchanting expression. "Isn't it related to these houses? Then just capture them all and well no." The beautiful woman was dumbfounded and speechless. She had never expected the young lady to take such action. Considering that both the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Yiming Ghost sect were top-tier sects. Even if this immortal spider marketplace was under their Five Poisons cult, it was not feasible to just apprehend disciples from other sects. Chapter 11:17. Golden Silkworm Goo and Six-Winged Golden Silkworm. Chapter 11:17. Chapter 391. Golden Silkworm Goo and Six-Winged Golden Silkworm. "What's wrong?" The young girl's eyebrows slightly furrowed, her nose still as a maiden's, like an innocent and cheerful girl, she asked. "Isn't there enough manpower in our marketplace to take them down? Do I need to inform Sister Xiao Chan?" "Enough, I will make the arrangements." The beautiful woman, thinking of the girl's identity, sighed inwardly and said no more. Provoking forces like the Heavenly Corpse sect and Yiming Ghost sect stationed in the marketplace might cause trouble. Yet disobeying this young miss and making her unhappy would mean trouble now. Half a day later. At the Immortal Spider Peak inside a grand palace. Nobly dressed men and women were bound, their mana restricted, unable to move. "Nangong Yao Yao, what is the meaning of this?" "Miss Yao Yao, is there perhaps some misunderstanding here? Our Gong family has always had good relations with your sect." "Nangong Yao Yao, you judge us based on the traces of techniques on the corpse. Isn't that too hasty? These people, either rich or aristocratic, all came from powerful families. Caught unexpectedly, all were fiery with anger." On the high platform of the palace, a girl in purple gauze covering her face sat casually to the side, resting her chin on her hand, one leg over the other. Her figure was perfect, her legs long and straight like mutton fat jade, emitting a dazzling and mesmerizing luster. "Don't be angry, everyone. Yao Yao just wants to know if my senior sister's death has anything to do with you all." Nangong Yao Yao looked at the furious people inside the hall, her beautiful eyes blinked softly, she spoke sweetly and cutely. Confirming that everyone from the marketplace had been captured, her clothes fluttering, the bells tied at her waist tinkling clearly, her fragrant body approached one of them. Then her star-like eyes shimmered with a dreamy, stunning light as she sweetly asked, "Senior brother, does this have something to do with you?" The young man being questioned by Nangong Yaoyao looked into those beautiful eyes, his eyes momentarily lost. He wasn't unfamiliar with beautiful women, but he swore he had never seen such beautiful eyes in his life. This beauty was indescribable beyond words. Under the gaze of these beautiful eyes, his mental spirit, will even his soul were sinking, willingly surrendering to her charm, ready to go through fire and water for her. A moment later, only the image of the girl in purple filled his pupils. He blankly said, "I was cultivating in the courtyard at the time and do not know of this matter." "Then what was your purpose coming to the Immortal spider marketplace?" Nangong Yaoyao continued to inquire sweetly. Facing such a question, everyone else in the hall felt a chill in their hearts. You must know this man is a foundation establishment cultivator just like Nangong Yaoyao. Yet faced with Nangong Yaoyao's tactics he could not resist at all. A moment later, Nangong Yaoyao looked towards another woman and asked the same question. However, this woman was wary and closed her eyes, refusing to look into Nangong Yaoyao's eyes. Pu piu piu. Seeing this, Nangong Yaoyao lightly lifted her hand. A 1-inch-long golden light shot out, piercing back and forth through the woman's chest, spurting out clusters of bloody flowers. Ah! The woman immediately let out a shrill scream of pain. "Sister, just tell Yaoyao." Nangong Yaoyao, still with her face covered by purple gauze, remained full of sweet smiles, her voice melodious, her beautiful eyes emitting an enchanting purple glow. The woman felt as if something was devouring her internal organs, her eyes bulging, veins throbbing, pain causing her to break into cold sweats. Hearing Nangong Yaoyao's voice, which sounded like heavenly music, she suddenly felt much of her pain dissipating, and a feeling of gratitude involuntarily surged in her heart. She suddenly realized something was amiss, yet she gradually lifted her head to gaze into Nangong Yaoyao's purple luminescent and beautiful eyes, feeling her mental spirit start to sink, as if the person before her was someone she was most close to. "This matter has nothing to do with me, but it might very likely be the doing of the Wuchang ghost. I came here this time because I heard news about the 6-winged golden silkworm, preparing to verify this matter." A moment later, the woman spoke with a hoarse voice. "6-winged golden silkworm?" Upon hearing this, Nangong Yaoyao lightly blinked her lovely eyes, appearing playful and adorable, and immediately inquired, "Where is this 6-winged golden silkworm? Do you have any relevant information?" "Her life-bound goo worm is named golden silkworm goo. If she could refine it with the 6-winged golden silkworm again, it could ascend to a celestial goo, serving as an external incarnation, a vessel for the second nascent soul. Moreover, she remembered that the 6-winged golden silkworm was a fierce and unusual species. If cultivated to the 3rd rank, it could refine several top-level magical treasures or even divine skills. All I know about 6-winged golden silkworm is that the person is named Chu Chongtian, who has possibly fled to the 5 Poisons cult after killing the son of ghost demon Jinren. The specifics I haven't yet investigated." The woman's face was pale, her eyes unfocused as she spoke. Chu Chongtian. Nangong Yaoyao memorized the name. And then she looked at the others remaining, asking whether anyone knew about the situation, and why they came to the Immortal spider marketplace. Although her trip was to investigate a murder case, it was also an opportunity to clear out other forces' spies planted in her marketplace. After handling the matter, she came to a palace, took out a token and sweetly called out, "Sister Xiao Chan." Boom. Moments later, the palace doors opened. Nangong Yaoyao, with a face full of joy, entered the grand hall, and upon seeing a girl with delicate exquisiteness, otherworldly beauty, dreamlike and vague appearance around the ages of 18 or 19, affectionately called out, "Sister Xiao Chan." During her speech, she burst into the other's embrace like a carefree little girl, looking charmingly naive. "Why are you still like a little child?" Meng Xiaoquan's eyebrows curved beautifully, her eyes filled with doting love as she gazed from dreamlike beautiful eyes. "Hee, I am just a child in front of Sister Xiao Chan," Nangong Yaoyao coyly said, sharing the day's events with Meng Xiaochan. 6-winged golden silkworm. Upon hearing the name, Meng Xiaoquan's eyes shimmered with a dreamy glaze. Then she softly said to Nangong Yaoyao, "Since this person could kill the son of ghost demon Jinren, it shows that he is exceptional, and the sect can investigate this matter." "Aha. Nangong Yaoyao, looking adorably appealing, continued, Sister Xiaochan, how long will mother be away this time? If you miss master, let's visit him at Heartless Ridge later. Meng Xiaochan gently stroked Nangong Yaoyao's hair, speaking softly. Yet in her heart she hoped her master would stay in Heartless Ridge a bit longer. Before, when Yaoyao broke through to Foundation establishment, master had said he would go on a long journey, and she guessed what master might be planning. Most likely to go to Jiang country, searching for that figure who always haunted his thoughts. Now that master's Lockhart Gu has been removed, going to Jiang country, Lu Lang is probably in great danger. Meng Xiaochan looked at Nangong Yaoyao in front of her and sighed inwardly. Knowing that once Heartless Ridge's matters were settled, master would still go to Jiang country. Wondering if master would spare Lu Lang for Yaoyao's sake. Having Nangong Yaoyao, she could see that her master's temperament had significantly changed. Chapter 11:18. Heavenly Dao Jedan. The second Dantian is complete. Bihu Lake Mountain, Mount Simaru Cave, Heaven, Chongqing Hall. Lu Chongqing sat cross-legged, a treasure-like dignity about him. Within the Qi Ocean core, 36 yin-yang primordial pills revolved, causing the elixir lake to boil, surging with astonishing waves of mana fluctuations. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Yin-yang energies flowed around his body, vast and mysterious, exuding a spiritual pressure almost surpassing that of a false core immortal, making the air within the cave mansion seem to solidify. Yin-yang primordial elixir method, 9 at small achievement, 36 at great success. After nearly half a year of closed-door cultivation, Lu Chongqing finally perfected this secret technique. Just at this moment, from within Lu Chongqing, a sudden and inexplicable pulsing surged as if on a whim. His yin-yang creation classic inexplicably began to stir, actively circulating, indicating an intent to challenge the third layer of the cultivation technique, the core formation stage. Is this what they call Heavenly Dao core formation? A trace of a smile appeared on Lu Changsheng's lips. Just like Heavenly Foundation establishment, when a cultivation technique is practiced to the limit, there's a chance that the cultivator's realm will break through on its own. Qi refinement breaking through to Foundation establishment is known as Heavenly Foundation establishment. Foundation establishment breaking through to core formation is then known as Heavenly Dao core formation. As long as one follows this thread of spiritual mechanism, it can increase the probability of breakthrough by 30 to 40% during the process. Back then, Lu Chongqing had continuously used his yin-yang energies to nourish Lu Maige's Tai Dao seed, which had allowed the latter to encounter such a rare opportunity. Unexpectedly, now that the yin-yang primordial elixir method was perfected, such an opportunity had emerged. Heavenly Dao core formation is good, but I don't need it. Lu Chongqing circulated his cultivation technique, forcibly suppressing his mana from breaking through, allowing this spur-of-the-moment opportunity, this predestined chance, to slowly dissipate. What countless others yearned for in their dreams, desiring to the point of madness, was so easily relinquished by Lu Chongqing. With my talent and foundation, why would I need to rely on this so-called Heavenly Dao core formation? Lu Chongqing looked calm and composed, stood up and straightened out his robe before stepping out of the cave mansion. If it weren't for the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus, now that the family's spirit vein had already been nurtured to the peak of the second rank, he might have considered taking this opportunity to break through. But with everything fully prepared, why rely on this so-called Heavenly Dao opportunity to disrupt his own plans? After all, what has always hindered his core formation isn't the process of core formation. It's the quality of the core. Especially now that the yin-yang primordial elixir method had reached great success, Lu Chongqing was hopeful that his golden core could go a step further than superior gold core, reaching the top tier of immortal golden cores, just as during his foundation establishment. Lu Chongqing came outside Chongqing Hall, looking towards the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus within the spiritual eye spring. This Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus had been nurtured by him using the Myriad Spirits bottle for over 10 years. But it had only grown slightly larger and had not undergone any noticeable qualitative transformation. To cultivate it into a Tianyuan lotus would take at least several more decades. Therefore, Lu Chongqing had long given up on the idea of cultivating the Tianyuan lotus. The Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus is sufficient to act as a true pill master's second dantian. After I refine the lotus into a void treasure, creating a second dantian, I estimate that the number of elemental elixirs condensed might easily surpass 36. Lu Chongxing contemplated silently. The yin-yang primordial elixir method was perfected with 36 pills. After reaching great success, more could continue to be condensed. The difficulty would increase, however, placing pressure on the Qi ocean core. However, as a third-rank heaven and earth spiritual plant, once this Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus is refined into the second Dantian, it will certainly be able to accommodate far more mana than a foundation establishment cultivator's own capacity. Lu Chongxing did not immediately pick this Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus. Instead, he walked out of the Mount Sumeru cave heaven to the Lu family mansion. He inquired of his wife, Lu Miaoyun, if there had been any new developments at home during his time in seclusion. There haven't been any issues at home, Lu Miaoyun gently shook her head, narrating some daily trivial matters of the household. For instance, children going out, breakthroughs in cultivation and the like. Although the patriarch of the Lu family is Lu Xingyang. Nevertheless, because Lu Chongxing always consulted with Lu Miaoyun, Lu Xingyang would still report many matters to Lu Miaoyun once again. Aha! Lu Chongxing, hearing that there were no major incidents, wasn't too concerned. He then listened to Lu Miaoyun talk about issues related to other family forces. She mentioned that Azure Phoenix Immortal had not shown herself, and now the Azure Phoenix Immortal city was increasingly chaotic, relying solely on several false core immortals to stabilize the populace. The situation was precarious. Have Qing Shan and Qing Zhu returned to your country? Lu Chongxing asked. Regarding the matter of Azure Phoenix Immortal City, he had previously inquired with his son, Lu Qingshan, about the situation upon their return. Lu Qingshan mentioned that they had been in the inner city at the time and hadn't felt much. However, he heard from his mentor that it was highly probable that Azure Phoenix Immortal had left Azure Phoenix Immortal City to break through to Nascent Soul. Qing Shan and Qing Zhu are still at home. Qing Shan seemed to have something for you, husband. Lu Miaoyun spoke up. Oh. Lu Chongxing nodded his head and went to ask his son what he wanted. Lu Qingshan didn't have anything particularly urgent. He just wanted to verify his understanding of the Seven Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture with Lu Chongxing after completing his study. Lu Qingshan then mentioned he planned to return to Jinyang sect with Lu Qingzhu. I will check the schedule for the Green Cloud spirit ship later and have someone prepare the tickets for you in advance. Upon hearing this, Lu Chongxing spoke up. Dad, you have such connections? Lu Qingshan was somewhat surprised. He hadn't expected such connections with Qingyun sect in their family. Your father's connections are broader than you imagine. Lu Chongxing glanced at his son and said so. He then helped solve his doubts regarding the Seven Luminaries' Great Freedom Sword scripture. Let me see your current combat strength. Lu Chongxing took Lu Qingshan to the back mountain wanting to evaluate his strength. To tell the truth, Lu Chongxing was still unclear about the concept of unparalleled power within the same realm. Dad, be careful. Lu Qingshan held a golden magical sword and grinned as he spoke. Chapter 11:19. Heavenly Dao Jedan, the second Dantian is complete. His words fell and his whole aura shot skyward, his robes fluttering, creating a fierce and sharp air current around him that tore through the air, with his edge fully exposed. In his early years he had thought his father's combat strength was average, mainly utilizing talismans. But during this trip home, after hearing about many things within the family, he always felt his father was not simple. Especially since his sword heart clarity allowed him to roughly sense others' strength and whether there was danger to himself. However, his father before him seemed enshrouded in mist, difficult to perceive even a bit, which was quite astonishing. Therefore he also wanted to see just how deep his father's hidden depth was. Just make your move. Lu Chongxing, wearing a long robe of azure, stood tall and slender and spoke with a light chuckle. Metal of Gung. Lu Qingshan's magical sword in his hand flowed with golden light, unleashing a golden sword chi tens of meters long, its aura fierce, carrying the sharpness of Gung metal. Yet facing this sword chi, Lu Chongxing did not dodge or evade, lifting his right hand lightly, his slender jade-like palm shimmering with a faint lustrous gleam, directly grasping the sword chi in his hand. Just make your move if you can. Lu Chongxing said with a smile. Dad, you also practice body refinement? Lu Qingshan, startled, spoke in surprise. He really did not know his father practiced body refinement. Although he feared injuring his father, he had only used a quarter of his strength in that sword strike. But his father directly countering with bare hands was indeed surprising, right? Yes, I practiced a bit during my spare time. Lu Chongqing nodded and said. Although it sounded a bit pretentious, he really did only practice during his spare time. Lu Qingshan's mouth twitched, thinking to himself that even though he was usually pretentious, his father was even more so. Dad, you better be careful next. Lu Changsheng's blade-like eyebrows slightly raised, he said solemnly. As his words fell, buzzing, the golden magical sword trembled wildly, its blade dazzling. A magnificent and dazzling seven-colored sword mang suddenly burst forth, sweeping down towards Lu Chongqing like a blanket from the sky. Good lad. Lu Changsheng's eyes revealed a bit of brilliance as he witnessed this scene. Lu Qingshan was only at the 3rd level of foundation establishment. Yet this one sword strike already compared to the usual attacks of those in the later stages of foundation establishment. He did not counter the sword light directly as before. After all, such an action indeed hurt one's self-esteem a bit. Yin-Yang Void. Lu Chongqing activated the Yin-Yang creation scripture, immediately causing the Yin-Yang energies around his body to surge, forming a huge Taiji Yin-Yang fish. This Taiji Yin-Yang fish spun, creating a black hole about a zhang wide. Whistling. The blanket-like sword lights from Lu Qingshan were all annihilated by the black hole, turning into wisps of spiritual energy, dissipating into the heavens and earth. This. Lu Qingshan, shocked, looked at his father. Not only was his attack easily neutralized, but also at that instant he finally sensed a few indescribable auras from his father's body. Dangerous, unfathomably deep. No wonder he's dad, truly extraordinary. Lu Qingshan grinned. This stance completely different from the peerless sword cultivator one just before. Hee, if you could be this cautious and clever in your usual dealings with others, your father would also be relieved. Lu Chongqing uttered a light chuckle. He had called his son to spar not just to test and see his strength, but also to make Lu Qingshan realize, there are always stronger people out there. Some people may seem ordinary but they have hidden depths. Never underestimate others. Lu Qingshan remained silent. Dealing with others? Do they even qualify? But still he cheerfully said, Dad is right, I'll surely remember this. Lu Changsheng's mouth twitched, knowing it went in one ear and out the other. He continued, Qingshan, in my view, being truly formidable is not about being invincible in the same realm, but always fighting against the odds. Dad has great wisdom. Lu Qingshan, fully agreeing, felt it made a lot of sense and said, well, this son is unteachable. Lu Chongqing couldn't be bothered to say anything more and went to check on his other children, using the cave mystique treasure mirror to assess their cultivation. Dad, I will head back later with little Zhu. It's a long journey and we might encounter some dangers. Do you have any suitable treasures for me? Lu Qingshan looked at his father and immediately called out. Through the recent exchange he knew his father was no simple figure, deeply hidden. Under this circumstance it wouldn't be too much to ask for something good, right? Roll, roll, roll. Lu Chongqing waved his hand. Moments later, Lu Qingshan saw Lu Chongqing using the cave mystique treasure mirror to check the cultivation progress of other Lu family disciples and quickly stepped forward to join in the fun. Dad, take a look at me too. Lu Chongqing used the treasure mirror to check on him. Throughout the process, everything was round and perfect without any hidden injuries or defects. Not bad, your cultivation is very stable. Lu Chongqing was not surprised and said with a smile. Then he checked on his daughter Lu Qingzhu, found 2 small flaws but nothing serious. This showed that their master Tianyuan true Immortal had indeed put some effort into them. After attending to his children's situation, Lu Chongqing left by Lake Mountain to head for Qingyun sect. Spending time with Xianxia and Zhao Qingqing, and incidentally asking Xianxia to prepare 2 green cloud spirit ship tickets for him. After returning from Qingyun sect, Lu Chongqing picked the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus. He began to refine it into a treasure of the void as his second Dantian. It was simple to transform the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus into a second Dantian. Similar to refining magical treasures, through continuous refinement, it ultimately became one with him. Time flew by and in the blink of an eye, a year had passed. During this time, Lu Chongqing spent most of his time refining the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus. However, he did not seclude himself completely. Every now and then he would visit Baiyun Peak to spend time with his wives and children. During this year, with the help of Lu Chongqing, Li Xingyu and Xia Zizhu successfully broke through to the foundation establishment using the same method. Lu Rui's qi refinement reached perfection, and she was about to prepare for the foundation establishment. Lu Qingsong broke through to the 9th level of energy refinement. When Lu Qingsong broke through to the 9th level of energy refinement, Lu Chongxing got a chance to draw a lottery. He drew an orthodox level cultivation technique, 6 desires heart demon technique. This was a divine consciousness technique. It cultivated one's divine consciousness through the 7 emotions and 6 desires. The method was indeed very good. If cultivated to a profound level, it had effects like suppressing one's own heart demons and triggering others' heart demons. The only issue was that this technique required the 7 emotions and 6 desires for cultivation, which was very troublesome. And during the process, it could potentially affect one's own desires or even trigger heart demons, which was very dangerous. Besides these, Lu Chongxing also had 5 more children this year. The reason he could have so many was naturally because he used the 5 aggregates proliferation method. He now had 91 descendants with spiritual roots and thought of having a few more before reaching core formation. Also, he felt his spiritual root was always at the critical point of a first-grade spiritual root. If another first-grade or even a second-grade spiritual root came along, perhaps his spiritual root could advance to an earth spirit root. Although at present an earth spirit root would not be of much help to him. But if he could advance, it would still have some beneficial effects. In Chongxing Hall. So this is the second Dantian, indeed mystical. Lu Chongxing sat cross-legged, looking at the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus nested in his Qi Ocean core. Originally, his Qi Ocean was filled with surging mana, like a pond brimming with flood water. But now, having refined the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus as the second Dantian, the original mana slowly flowed into it. If he used this second Dantian to breathe in nature's spiritual energy and restore mana, the efficiency would be several times, even dozens of times higher than now. Although this Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus has not advanced to a Tianyuan Lotus as a second Dantian, it's probably comparable to a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator. If I fill up the second Dantian, wouldn't it be like having an endless supply of mana? Lu Chongxing felt amazed. However, he knew that he was only at the foundation establishment stage. If he broke through to core formation, the effects of this second Dantian wouldn't be so astonishing. If this were a Tianyuan Lotus, Lu Chongxing muttered in his heart, thinking that if he really cultivated a Tianyuan Lotus, then he would truly have an endless supply of mana. However, without the advancement of the physical body and meridians, the effect of this second Dantian would be greatly reduced, only serving as a simple mana storage. Whether for restoring mana, breathing mana, or casting techniques and magical powers for a long time, the physical body and meridians couldn't endure such a surge of mana for long. But for me it's already enough. Lu Chongxing muttered in his heart. Chapter 11:20. Lu Rui's Breakthrough, Preparing for Core Formation. By Yun Peak. Lu Chongxing, as usual, used the Cave Mystique treasure mirror to check the cultivation levels of his children. Upon seeing his daughter Lu Rui, he spoke, "Rui, I see your essence, qi and spirit are sufficient. You can attempt foundation establishment now, no need to delay any longer." He could tell that his daughter still had some trepidation and worry about foundation establishment, leading to indecision. Therefore he spoke directly to spare her the continued anxiety that could affect her mental state. "Yes, father." Lu Rui lightly pursed her lips and nodded in response upon hearing this. 3 days later. Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. Dressed in a blue robe, Lu Chongxing held a jade flute. With his clothes fluttering elegantly, he looked ethereal and out of this world. His tall and upright figure resembled the green pine and cypress, exuding a spring-like freshness and serenity. The sound of the flute was mournful and lingering, like a flowing stream and the warm sun of the mortal world. Lu Rui sat cross-legged, listening to the profound and ethereal flute music. It seemed as though a gentle stream was flowing through her heart, soft and peaceful, comfortable and at ease. All the impatience, anxiety, and worries deep in her heart were washed away by the melody. After several tunes, Lu Rui's mind was as calm as still water, and even the spiritual power in her elixir lake flowed more smoothly. "Father." Lu Rui opened her eyes, still immersed in the magical music, and looked at her father, who seemed like a banished immortal with the blue robe and jade flute. In her life she had never heard such wonderful music, and her mental spirit was at peace. "If you're ready, then break through with peace of mind." Lu Changsheng's gentle voice echoed in her mind. "Yes." Lu Rui, with a solemn face, swallowed the foundation establishment elixir, circulated her cultivation technique, and began her attempt at foundation establishment. Lu Chongqing continued to play the jade flute. Its profound and ethereal music mastery flowed through her body, meridians and dantian like spring water, cleansing her body and mind and sorting nature's spiritual energy. Such a method was something only Lu Chongqing with his third-rank music mastery could employ. A second-rank music mastery at most would help someone cleanse their spirit and resolve heart demons. However, such a method also consumed a great deal of Lu Chongqing's mental spirit and mana. If it weren't for the fact that his daughter's spiritual root was poor, making the chances of successful foundation establishment very low, Lu Chongqing truly wouldn't want to spend this time and effort. Huff huff huff. First came the qi and blood barrier of foundation establishment. Spiritual energy swept across, violently surging into Lu Rui's body, cleansing her limbs and bones. During this process, Lu Rui's expression showed slight pain. But under the influence of the foundation establishment elixir and Lu Chongqing's flute music, she managed to safely endure the cleansing and gathered it in her qi ocean core. As for the 3 barriers of foundation establishment, Lu Chongqing wasn't worried. The main issue was the process of condensing the Dao foundation. Like Xia Zizhu and Li Xingyu before, they had problems at this step. But compared to the 2 women, Lu Rui had been through many things externally, including life and death struggles, which made her temperament much stronger than the 2 women. Time slowly passed. Lu Rui passed the 3 barriers of foundation establishment and began to condense her Dao foundation. It's a bit of a strain. Even if she condenses a Dao foundation, it will at most be a pan sui Dao Ji. Lu Chongqing watched his daughter's condition, sighing in his heart. Having an 8th grade spiritual root, after all, was holding her back too much. And Lu Rui's temperament still wasn't up to par, not like Li Feiyu. Void Yin Yang reversal divine skills, Yin Yang energies, captivate. Lu Chongqing's palms lifted slightly, activating the Yin Yang creation scripture. Within his qi ocean core, the Dao foundation shone with a radiant light. Humming. The Yin Yang energies around the Dao foundation instantly transformed into a Yin Yang fish, appearing within Lu Chongqing's palm through the meridians. Go! Lu Chongqing's jade-like palms released the Yin Yang fish into Lu Rui's body. Whoosh! Lu Rui immediately felt a Yin Yang fish entering her qi ocean core, helping her to refine nature's spiritual energy and to condense the Dao foundation. The Dao platform, previously fraught with cracks and trembling, started to gain a mysterious aura with the integration of the Yin Yang fish, causing the cracks to diminish. After an unknown amount of time, Lu Rui successfully broke through to foundation establishment, her body radiant and lustrous. Barely achieving A with flaw Dao foundation, but it's acceptable, I guess. Lu Chongqing sighed. With such resources and treatment, even among immortal sects, she belongs to the level of a true inheritor. But his daughter could only just barely achieve A with flaw Dao foundation. However, given Lu Rui's circumstances, successfully breaking through the foundation establishment was already a feat. Father, you've worked hard. Lu Rui opened her eyes, looking at her father in front of her, her gaze filled with joy, excitement, admiration, and affection. She knew that without her father's help, her own attempt at foundation establishment would definitely not have been successful. Rui, congratulations on your foundation establishment. Lu Chongqing touched his daughter's head, his expression gentle, and he said with a light smile. We'll hold the foundation establishment ceremony for you in a few years. After stabilizing your cultivation, you will head to Flower Fruit Mountain to cultivate and stand guard. Your father has some matters to entrust to you. Lu Chongqing thus spoke. Nowadays, supporting so many foundation establishment cultivators with the spirit vein is indeed a bit forcing. Furthermore, he plans to condense the Yin Yang primordial pill in his second dantian at one go and then attempt core formation. During this period, it will inevitably affect the cultivation of others in the family. Therefore, he intended for his daughter to cultivate at White Tiger Mountain or Flower Fruit Mountain. Rui isn't prepared to hold any grand ceremony. Lu Rui gently shook her head and said. She knew the foundation establishment ceremony wouldn't bring in many spirit stones and the family might even lose money. Moreover, given the current situation of her home with the continuous emergence of foundation establishment cultivators, it would certainly attract attention from other families. Especially since she had a low-quality spiritual root which would draw a lot of attention. We'll talk about that when the time comes. If you have time, you could chat more with Qing Song to understand some of the business operation strategies. Lu Chongqing continued to advise. Over the years, though Bai Lake Mountain's reputation has soared, the business was still confined to their own small area. Chapter 1121. Lu Rui's breakthrough preparing for core formation. The Lu family's young had long harbored thoughts of expanding their business, but were consistently held back by Lu Chongqing. Now that the children had gradually matured, Lu Chongqing felt at ease letting them venture out. Furthermore, forming a business association to expand the business would bring many conveniences and benefits to the family. The daughter understands. Upon hearing this, Lu Rui immediately grasped her father's intentions. In fact, in her view, with their current strength, their business should have been spread to the 3 great immortal cities long ago. After settling Lu Rui, Lu Chongqing returned to his cave mansion and sat cross-legged with closed eyes. Previously, he had cleansed Lu Rui's spirit with music mastery, assisting in her breakthrough. Moreover, forcefully exerting divine skills and yin-yang creation captures, employing yin-yang source to help his daughter coalesce her Dao foundation. All these had cost him not a little. Time flew by swiftly, and in the blink of an eye, more than half a year had passed. During this period, Lu Chongqing fathered 2 more children and 3 were born. However, one had a middle-grade spiritual root, one a low quality, and one was without a spiritual root, making Lu Chongqing shake his head slightly. He decided that in the future, if he were to take in more concubines or maids, he would only consider those with high-quality spiritual root or foundation establishment cultivators. By doing so, he could significantly raise the lower limit. In these times, Bai Lake Mountain was very stable. The spirit vein in Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven had been cultivated to a second-order superior grade, and was growing towards the second-tier top level. It was estimated that in a year at most, the spirit vein would reach the second-tier top level. However, during these times, the situation in Azure Phoenix Immortal City had become increasingly chaotic. The departure of a large number of loose cultivators ultimately affected the Qingyun region, leading to a higher frequency of robber cultivator incidents. Recently, the Red Leaf Valley market also suffered a looting. However, Lu Miaoga and 3 foundation establishment cultivators from Qingzhou Mountain arrived promptly at the first sign of trouble, suppressing the robber cultivators' disturbance. This incident caused quite a stir. Everyone knew that Qingzhou Mountain and Bai Lake Mountain were like branches of the same tree. Now, it was clear that Bai Lake Mountain had 7 foundation establishment cultivators in the open. Mountain Lord Lu Chongqing and his wife Lu Miaoga cultivated the dual cultivation technique together, and their combat power was comparable to that of a false core immortal. Under such circumstances, it was astonishing that the Lu family of Qingzhou Mountain also had 3 foundation-building great cultivators, unbeknownst to all. Many family forces suspected that aside from the foundation establishment cultivators known to all, Bai Lake Mountain might still be hiding their true power. Currently, the biggest local force, Golden Dragon Ridge, due to its false core patriarch being slain by a heretic cultivator and the new false core patriarch Jin Zan gradually consolidating the Jin family's territory, caused other family forces to fear Bai Lake Mountain far more than Golden Dragon Ridge. After all, the Jin family acted overbearingly and was now severely damaged in vital energy, and in need of recuperation. The Lu family seemed harmless and uninvolved in anything, but their growth rate was astonishingly fast. This made Lu Chongqing realize that if his family were to establish a business association and expand the business, they would inevitably encounter great resistance. One day, Lu Chongqing received a letter from Li Feiyu. The letter indicated that he was fine and Lu Chongqing needn't worry, but the current situation in Azure Phoenix Immortal City was a bit tense, advising Lu Chongqing not to visit Azure Phoenix Immortal City if unnecessary. Sigh, a storm is coming to the building. Lu Chongqing shook his head, knowing that Azure Phoenix Immortal City was likely going to descend into chaos. Li Feiyu chose not to leave Azure Phoenix Immortal City, hoping to seize opportunities amidst the chaos. After all, chaos serves as a ladder to ascend the social hierarchy for loose cultivators. Despite the incredible dangers, they would still choose to gamble and fight. Regarding his good brother's choice, Lu Chongqing could only wish for him to take good care of himself. He replied to the letter, stating that if there were any troubles or matters, he was welcome to come to Bai Lake Mountain at any time. A year and a half later, in Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven Chongqing Hall, Lu Chongqing was seated cross-legged, and within the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus in his second dantian, the 36th yin-yang primordial pill was condensing. The accommodating characteristics of this second dantian significantly accelerated the speed at which he condensed the primordial pills. Therefore, relying on dual cultivation, pill consumption, and his children's enhancements, he reached great success with this secret technique in just over 2 years. Boom, boom, boom. The 36 yin-yang primordial pills circulating between his second dantian and the primordial pills in his Qi ocean core resonated with each other, creating a curious symphony that made his elixir lake boil and roar. A surge of tumultuous mana raced and surged as if it intended to expand Lu Changsheng's body. However, Lu Changsheng's body emanated treasure light and the aura of his third-tier physique pervaded, easily suppressing this mana. What's happening? Lu Chongqing felt a certain heaviness and tension throughout his body. Even with this second dantian, he could not further refine his mana by even a fraction. Originally, he had thought of continuously condensing yin-yang primordial pills by taking advantage of the characteristics of the second dantian. But now 36 yin-yang primordial pills had already made him feel at his limit. It seemed that condensing another primordial pill would unbalance the yin-yang primordial pills in the two dantians. His Qi ocean core simply could not bear this power. The yin-yang primordial pill method is about compressing and fine-refining a portion of one's cultivation and magical power in the form of nascent soul in the Qi ocean core, simulating core formation when one's cultivation can no longer advance. To condense 36 yin-yang primordial pills is already the upper limit for most talented cultivators. Without this second dantian, even if I wanted to continue condensing, it would be extremely difficult and I could at most condense about 9 more. Moreover, this second dantian is not a true Qi ocean core after all. Although it can hold nascent soul magical power, it is still closely related to my current cultivation realm. Therefore, 72 yin-yang primordial pills are already my limit, or rather the limit of this realm. Lu Chongqing murmured to himself, roughly understanding the situation. A cultivator's meridians, Qi ocean core and elixir lake all have an upper limit of capacity. Chapter 1122. Lu Rui's breakthrough, preparing for core formation. To enhance the limit, one must either upgrade the foundation or the realm. Undoubtedly, my foundation is formidable. But raising the foundation any further is too difficult. As for the realm, it has already reached a point where progress is impossible. Under such circumstances, being able to condense 72 yin-yang primordial pills is the utmost limit for this realm. Since that's the case, then, core formation. Lu Chongqing stood up, his eyes bright and spirited. The spirit vein in Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven has been nourished to the extreme of the second rank. While the spiritual vein origin has not yet been depleted and can continue to be nurtured, further promotion is impossible. So under these circumstances, there's no need to wait any longer. The only regret during these 3 years is that despite having children, none possessed innate talent exceptional enough to enhance the spiritual root. Sister Miaoga. Lu Chongqing went to the next cave mansion to find Lu Miaoga. He informed her of his plans for core formation and needed her assistance. The Sun-Moon Samsara technique he cultivated with Lu Miaoga has achieved small success, and this cultivation technique assists somewhat with core formation. Furthermore, during his core formation, the Tai Dao seed within Lu Miaoga could serve as a top-tier core formation spiritual object. Core formation. Even though Lu Miaoga was long aware of Lu Changsheng's cultivation level, she was still somewhat dazed to hear these words. Once he undergoes core formation, it signifies stepping into the ranks of high-rank cultivators. From then on, one can enjoy a lifespan of 500 years and be called a nascent soul immortal. For the early years of her life, core formation was a level she dared not even dream of. Even now, knowing that core formation was not so out of reach, her heart still had a dense filter. So now, hearing Lu Chongqing was prepared to challenge core formation, she couldn't help but feel dazed, joyous, and excited. Chongqing, are you ready? Are you confident? Lu Miaoga always had great trust in Lu Chongqing, but she couldn't help but worry at this moment. Compared to foundation establishment, the difficulty of core formation was countless times greater. During the foundation establishment stage, many loose cultivators managed breakthroughs. However, those who achieve core formation as loose cultivators can be counted on one's fingers. Not to mention anything else. In the entire Jiang country cultivation realm, there are countless foundation establishment families, but only 3 nascent soul noble families. It's okay. The probability of core formation is 100%, and the odds of forming a golden core, 98%. Lu Changxing looked at his wife's pure and beautiful face, the concern in his eyes making his heart surge warmly, and he chuckled softly. His calm speech was filled with ease and confidence. Great, Lu Miaoge replied softly with a smile, her voice gentle as water. She then asked if they should call Lu Pingon back to prevent anybody from causing trouble on by Lake Mountain during this period. After all, once Lu Changxing started the core formation by Lake Mountain's family, great formation would be significantly weakened, barely maintaining operation. If an enemy were to attack at such a time, it must be resolved quickly. Other than Lu Changxing, the strongest in the Lu family is Lu Pingon, who is at the late stage 2nd rank of body refinement. As long as there's no attack from a nascent soul immortal, there shouldn't be any significant problems. Lu Changxing said, holding his wife's tender hand and smiling. Currently our family doesn't have any major enemies. The only potential major enemy is the beast-taming Su family. Unless the elder ancestor of the Su family attacks, our family without the great formation is still as solid as a bastion. And if the elder ancestor of the Su family really comes, we can just shake him off. Amichum. Lu Miaoge, now like a nurturing mother, asked if there was anything else Lu Changxing needed to prepare, pondering whether there was anything lacking for the crucial matter of core formation. I need to make a trip to Qingyun sect and need to call Shiyu to help. Lu Changxing spoke, asking Lu Miaoge to make arrangements at home. He has the dragon roar physique, but he cultivates the way of yin and yang. When challenging core formation there might be some impact. Xianxia possesses the moonlight spirit body, so if an accident does occur she can help through the sun-moon samsara technique. Moreover, when he broke through to foundation establishment, his Dao foundation merged with Xiaoxia's lunar moonlight essence. During the core formation, if she assists there may be benefits. Anyway, having come this far, Lu Changxing naturally considered everything carefully. Alright Changxing, be careful on your way. I'll handle everything at home. Lu Miaoge replied softly, then went to find Ling Zixiao to discuss the matter. She explained that Lu Changxing was preparing for core formation and asked her to be ready to set up the gathering spirit and spirit burning arrays in advance. If during the breakthrough process, there's an insufficient supply of spiritual energy, they will directly burn the family's spiritual vein origin. Core formation. Is Lord finally going to undergo core formation? A hint of surprise appeared on the elegant and dignified visage of Ling Zixiao. She and Lu Miaoge always knew of Lu Changxing's cultivation level. They also knew that Lu Changxing's recent trip to the Myriad Beasts mountain range to intercept the spiritual vein origin was in preparation for core formation. But at this very moment, hearing that Lu Changxing was about to challenge core formation, she couldn't help but feel emotional. Lord is only about 70 years old, right? Ling Zixiao spoke softly. He still remembered meeting Lu Changxing over 30 years ago. Back then, his cultivation was only at the 2nd level of foundation establishment. But now over 30 years have passed and he is about to challenge core formation. Changxing is 75 this year. Lu Miaoge replied softly. In the cultivation world, challenging core formation before the age of 100 is considered a genius. And this notion stems from the true inheritors of immortal sects. Because apart from the true inheritors of immortal sects, it's almost impossible for loose cultivators and members of cultivating families to challenge core formation before the age of 100. Like the great elder Jin Zan of the Jin family at the age of 120 and at the 9th level of foundation establishment, was expected to challenge core formation. Already considered a genius. Could Lord be a true immortal reincarnated? Ling Zixiao said with considerable emotion. Her words were not merely an exclamation over the speed of Lu Changxing's cultivation. Rather, she was reflecting on the countless surprises and superhuman performances Lu Changxing had given them over the decades. As the individuals closest to Lu Changxing, they witnessed too many inexplicable events. Chapter 1123. Lu Rui's breakthrough preparing for core formation. _4 However, there are many things Lu Changxing wouldn't say and they wouldn't inquire too much. This is not important. All I know is that Changxing is my husband. Lu Miaoge said with a demeanor gentle as water. She then found Bai Ling, Xia Zizhu, Li Xingruo and Li Xingyu and asked them to refrain from cultivating for the coming days. As for the energy refining cultivators from the family, they were not reminded. Right after, Lu Miaoge directly ordered Lu Miaoyun to lock down the mountain, her sister Lu Miaohuan and Bai Ling to oversee the sect gate, forbidding anyone from entering or leaving at will. Meanwhile, Lu Chongxing had arrived at the gates of Qingyun sect. Buzz. Lu Chongxing took out the yin-yang sensing talisman he had with Xianxia. Half an hour later, a white escape light flew out from the gates. Chongxing. Xianxia in a moon-white dress, her face cool and holy, her demeanor noble and otherworldly, as though she were the bright moon of the 9 heavens. Shiyu, I am preparing for core formation and need your assistance. Lu Chongxing directly communicated to Xianxia through a transmission. What? Xianxia's expression was moved and she was extremely surprised. She didn't expect Lu Chongxing to attempt core formation so soon. At once, she and Lu Chongxing turned into an escape light and left. Isn't that Mountain Lord Lu Chongxing of Bihu Mountain? I wonder what matter he has to seek the help of Uncle Master Xiao. That Mountain Lord Lu has truly extraordinary charisma to have such a close relationship with Uncle Master Shiyu. Keep your voice down. If the people from the enforcement hall hear this, you're going to be in trouble. At the gate, several station disciples of Qingyun sect saw this and discussed in low voices. Lu Changsheng's frequent visits to Qingyun sect to see Xianxia were no longer a secret. Especially since Lu Chongxing often went to Kaiyun Peak, and even caused some disciples to murmur guesses about their relationship behind their backs. However, when Xiaoxia's master Kaiyun True Immortal became aware of this, he had the enforcement hall punish all those who speculated, and thus no one in Qingyun sect dared to gossip about it anymore. Furthermore, Kaiyun Peak also announced that Xiaoxia invited Lu Chongxing over for alchemy and talisman making. After all, besides being famous for his charisma, the Mountain Lord of Bihu Mountain also had the reputation of being peerless in both pills and talismans. Many family forces built good relations with Bihu Mountain also because of this reputation, often seeking to purchase elixir medicines and talismans from them. Chongxing, you're preparing for core formation, but are you fully prepared? On the spirit boat, Xiaoxia stood with an elegant and poised figure, inquiring with concern to Lu Chongxing. She knew that Lu Changsheng's cultivation level was far beyond her own. But she didn't expect him to be ready for core formation so soon. After all, breaking through from foundation establishment to core formation is not merely a matter of reaching the peak of foundation establishment. It requires a lot of preparation. Without the coagulation crystal elixir and core formation spiritual objects, unless one has a heavenly spiritual root, it's difficult for those with earth spirit roots to be fully confident. The risks of core formation are not any less than those of foundation establishment and could be even more dangerous. One slip could lead to death and complete destruction of one's Dao foundation. This is why countless people yearn for a coagulation crystal elixir. Because its effects are similar to those of the foundation establishment elixir. It not only increases the chances of core formation, but also stabilizes the channels, Dantian and Dao foundation in case of core formation failure. To reach the peak of foundation establishment with hopes to attempt core formation, one is considered to be a notable person in their own right. At this point, naturally, no one dares to risk their life by relying on just a couple of spiritual objects for preparation, as they did at the peak of qi refining. They would want to make all the necessary preparations. But coagulation crystal elixir is an extremely rare strategic resource. Even the 4 great immortal sects find it precious, and the elixir is hard to come by. The difficulty of purchasing one is many times that of acquiring a foundation establishment elixir. Besides coagulation crystal elixir, attempting core formation also requires a 3rd-rank spirit vein cave dwelling. Although one could go to the Immortal City for a breakthrough. Without some connections or referrals, Immortal City generally does not lease such high-level cave dwellings. So when Lu Chongxing said he was going to attempt core formation, it seemed too sudden for Xiaoxia. Since I have come naturally, I am fully prepared. Lu Chongxing said with a light laugh, holding Xiaoxia's somewhat cold jade hand. The spirit vein in the Mount Sumeru cave heaven has already been cultivated to a top-grade 2nd order. Then with the spiritual eye spring heavenly origin precious lotus, and the 2nd-order top-grade spiritual vein from Bihu Mountain, I have also cultivated a nascent soul secret technique on my own, which can lower the demand for spiritual energy during core formation, so spiritual energy is not a problem. Moreover, I obtained a coagulation crystal elixir by chance in my early years, and over the years, I've also collected a few core formation spiritual objects, so the preparations are quite complete. Lu Chongxing gently reassured Xianxia, indicating that she didn't need to worry. His visit was mainly due to the possibility of unforeseen accidents during core formation. He reminded her that their Dao platforms had integrated Xiaoxia's lunar moonlight essence, which would be somewhat helpful during core formation when they used the sun-moon samsara technique. All right. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's words, Xiaoxia felt relieved and couldn't help but marvel at his fortune. She remembered the 50-year pact set by her master with her and Lu Chongxing, for them to break through to core formation within 50 years. Even though she believed that Lu Chongxing would definitely manage to break through within 50 years, she never imagined that just over 20 years had passed, and Lu Chongxing was already preparing for core formation. This also caused her to feel a sense of urgency, and she harbored some concerns. "You don't worry. Once I break through to core formation, I will surely resolve your issue and help you reach core formation as soon as possible." Lu Chongxing squeezed her soft hand and spoke to her softly. Xiaoxia nodded slightly, and the two arrived at Bihu Mountain. Chapter 11:24. Core Formation. Core Formation. Core Formation. After returning to Bai Lake Mountain, Lu Chongxing and Xiaoxia didn't immediately begin core formation. Instead, they first relaxed and eased their minds. Meanwhile, they waited for Ling Zixiao to properly set up the formation. "Chongxing Wangshu is no longer a child. When do you plan to let her break through to foundation establishment?" Xiaoxia asked with concern after visiting their daughter with Lu Chongxing. Though playful in her youth, their daughter was bathed in heavenly and earthly treasures since childhood to temper her physical body. She also cultivated the 99 mystical talisman scripture, which perfectly matched her blood talisman's spiritual body. Her cultivation speed wasn't inferior to those with top-grade spiritual roots. She had been stuck at the peak of qi refining for 7 or 8 years, which left even her mother anxious. Wang Shu has almost fully grasped the 99 mystical talisman scripture. Once I break through to core formation, she can begin preparing for foundation establishment. Lu Chongxing held Xiaoxia's jade hand and spoke softly. His expectations for his daughter, Lu Wangshu, were distinct from his other children. With Lu Wangshu's current foundation, she had a high chance of condensing a perfect Dao foundation. But Lu Chongxing figured that after his own breakthrough in core formation, the effect of the yin-yang energies would rise to the next level. At that time, he could act as a top-tier foundation establishment spiritual object and elevate his daughter's Dao foundation even further. Xiaoxia softly agreed. She knew that Lu Chongxing doted on his daughter greatly, doing what was best for her. 3 months later, in Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven within Chongxing Hall, Lu Chongxing sat cross-legged, surrounded by Lu Miaoge, Ling Zixiao, Xiaoxia, and the ancient beast-taming charm. There is a special understanding for the foundation establishment and naturally, core formation as well. Even though Lu Chongxing had consulted with Hong Lian about knowledge on foundation establishment and core formation, there was nothing so direct and simple as having a nascent soul old lady as a protector online. At this moment, Lu Chongxing took out his core formation items. Supreme Condensation Elixir. Top-grade core formation spiritual object. 5 elements fruit. Core formation spiritual object. Heavenly fire lioli. Core formation spiritual object. Profound water cold crystal. Core formation spiritual object. Fire marrow date. Core formation spiritual object. Pure clean water. Sister Miaoge Shiyu Zishao. Lu Chongxing gazed at the 3 women, his handsome face serene and composed. For 90% of foundation establishment peak cultivators, core formation is perilous. But Lu Chongxing had full confidence without a hint of nervousness. "Chongxing, you will surely succeed." The 3 women were even more nervous and anxious than Lu Chongxing. "Rest assured." Lu Chongxing nodded gently and closed his eyes. He didn't operate his cultivation technique immediately but simply sat in meditation to regulate his breath. Cultivators always regain calmness and dispel distracting thoughts, restoring their essence, qi and spirit to their peak before a breakthrough. Since awakening my memory in Qingyun sect, it has been 57 years since I began my spiritual practice. From a farm boy, the son-in-law of Qingzhou Mountain, I've become the renowned master of Bai Lake Mountain. In these 57 years, I have worked tirelessly, never slackening. I married 7 wives, took 49 concubines, 11 maids, 3 Dao companions, and even formed connections with 2 nascent soul immortals, siring 267 children. All these past memories surged in Lu Changsheng's mind. The system is important, but my relentless effort is what truly matters. Without such diligence, even with the system and peerless talent, I'd be but a salted fish. My heart is set on the Dao. Such a trifling core formation is nothing but a flick. Lu Changsheng, thinking of all he achieved through his own effort, felt his heroic spirit soar to the heavens. Sister Miaoga. He suddenly opened his eyes, looking over to Lu Miaoga. The 3 women were surprised that Lu Changsheng could adjust his state so quickly. It could only be said that Lu Changsheng's profound foundation was truly astonishing. Third order body refining, nascent soul divine sense. Perfect Dao foundation, robust roots, no real need for much adjustment. Lu Miaoga looked at the man in front of her, with skin as white as jade, transcendently handsome, eyes bright and full of ease and confidence, and gently nodded her head. Without shyness, she slipped off her white bamboo silk clothes. Her flawless body, snowy and smooth skin, silky shoulders, and graceful curves looked like a divinely exquisite piece of art, dazzlingly beautiful and radiant. Soon after, tender eyes full of warmth and affection met with his dark, profound, vivid eyes. They embraced each other, bodies intertwined, the cycle of the sun and moon progressed, and within the cave mansion they played a beautiful harmony of life. Humming. Spirit and flesh, body and heart continuously merged, indistinguishable from each other. Forget about emotions in tranquility, all things are emptiness, the soul of the sun, the shadow of the moon, a thought of purity, heaven and earth are one and the same. After some time they operated the sun-moon samsara technique, with the sun and moon rising, gradually tranquilizing their Dao hearts. In the great void, an invisible cauldron gradually formed, burning the sun and moon, transforming them into a pool of jade liquid. This was the effect of the sun-moon samsara technique. Condensing primordial yin and primordial yang, converting mana into a pool of pure jade essence to aid one in a breakthrough. Lu Miaoga operated the sun-moon samsara technique with all her might, pouring all her mana into this pool of jade liquid. Afterward, she gently moved this invisible cauldron, merging it into Lu Changsheng's chi ocean core. Boom! Lu Changsheng's body trembled, feeling as though soaked in a hot spring, with a stream of pure and rich essence of the sun and the moon nurturing every inch of his flesh and skin. Simultaneously, Lu Miaoga's Dao foundation bloomed with magnificent light. The Tai Dao seed from the superior Dao foundation flowed along the meridians, slowly moving into Lu Changsheng's body. Rumbling. As soon as the Tai Dao seed entered Lu Changsheng's Qi ocean core, it instantly bathed his Dao foundation in splendid light, the mana in his elixir lake boiling, stirring up surging waves against the Qi ocean core. Humming. The yin-yang creation scripture began to operate on its own, with the 36 yin-yang primordial pills in the Qi ocean core and the 36 in the second dantian vibrating in unison. There was no capricious surge of emotions from heavenly Dao Jiedan, just inexplicable throbbing. Chapter 11:25. Core Formation. Core Formation. Core Formation. His cultivation technique was like the heavenly Dao Jiedan, proactively assaulting the realm. Sister Miaoga, you take a good rest. Lu Changsheng opened his eyes and spoke to the pale and weak Lu Miaoga, whose cheeks were red as peach blossoms, nestled in his arms. At this moment his realm could no longer be contained. Raising his hand, he consumed the prepared coagulation crystal elixir. Boom! Upon entering his stomach, the coagulation crystal elixir transformed into a majestic medicinal power that surged into his limbs and bones, causing the Qi ocean core within Lu Changsheng to roar once again, unleashing wave-like sounds akin to tsunamis. Muscles emitted a treasured light, as the aura of a third-tier physique began to awaken. The elixir lake, flowing with yin-yang magic power, surged with endless divine brilliance, mysterious and splendid, accompanied by faint hints of Daoist chants. This was the sound of the yin-yang creation classic's autonomous operation, and if there were any cultivators of the way of yin and yang present, they could have gleaned enlightenment from these sounds. Lu Miaoga, Xianxia and Ling Zixiao all stared at Lu Changsheng, dumbfounded and speechless with amazement. It was incredible. This foundation establishment challenging core formation, with such a miraculous scene yet to begin, was truly unheard of. A tsunami that connects heaven's roaring waves and a zen-like Daoist chant. What formidable foundations are these? Not just them, even the ancient beast-taming charms. Honglian was slightly shocked. As a nascent soul-true monarch, she had seen countless prodigies, being a top-tier prodigy herself. Yet even so, faced with such a spectacle of Lu Changsheng's core formation, she couldn't help her astonishment. Boom boom boom. Lu Changsheng sat in meditation, unmovable as his qi, blood and magical power boiled and roared, like the heavenly river breaching its banks, thundering incessantly. Core formation and foundation establishment share similarities, including the 3 steps of essence, qi and spirit. Now at the first step, the qi and blood. The qi of Mount Sumeru cave, heaven thick and rich as if rain, nature's spiritual energy surged towards Lu Changsheng. The spiritual energy within the cave had been gathered in advance, pure and vast, reaching the caliber of 3rd-rank spiritual energy. Against such pure and tumultuous nature's spiritual energy, Lu Changsheng's body glowed brilliantly, with a dignified aura, immovable as a divine mountain. 3rd-order body refining, steadfast as a sacred mountain. The nature's spiritual energy along with the sun-moon cauldron, merged with the medicinal power of the coagulation crystal elixir, forming a mist-like liquid mana. At that moment Lu Changsheng felt a warm current surging through his body, flowing through all his limbs and bones, nurturing his physical body. The flawless heavenly fragrance body. This spiritual body not only prolongs life after breakthroughs. During a breakthrough, it also purifies the flesh and clarifies the physical body, which has a supportive effect on the breakthrough core. Simultaneously, a fierce and rolling aura roared around Lu Changsheng, allowing his Thunder Gang dragon flame to seep out unconsciously. The dragon roar physique. The entire spirit body, as Lu Changsheng surmised, also aids in the core formation. Roar roar roar. The intense and mighty Thunder Gang dragon flame caused the temperature in the cave mansion to rise significantly. If it weren't for the power of the cave heaven of Mount Sumeru protecting Lu Miaoge, Xiaoxia and Ling Zixiao at this very moment, with such a domineering aura from Lu Changsheng, the 3 ladies could hardly bear it. Such a terrifying flame, it's the heavenly spiritual fire. Lu Miaoge and the others watched as flames surged around Lu Changsheng's body, their expressions filled with astonishment and disbelief. Even with the protection of Mount Sumeru, they felt it was extraordinarily incredible. As though this fire could easily burn them to ashes, it imparted a strong sense of oppression. At this moment, Ling Zixiao sensed a very familiar aura within Lu Changsheng's body. The dragon roar physique. Previously she had sensed the aura of dragon roar origin from Lu Changsheng, assuming it was because Lu Changsheng had plundered her dragon roar origin. But at this moment she could clearly sense that Lu Changsheng's dragon roar physique was very complete and not inferior to her own. Dragon roar physique, flawless heavenly fragrance body. How could someone possess 2 top-level spiritual bodies in one body? Even Honglian within the ancient beast-taming charm was incredibly shocked. She had always thought Lu Changsheng was of the Dragon Emperor body. But now, seeing the 2 mysterious auras emanating from Lu Changsheng, she was totally stunned, somewhat bewildered. It's not that the cultivation world never had someone with dual-spirited bodies. But such a case was extremely rare. Even if a child inherited both parents' spirited bodies throughout the pregnancy, it was highly probable the 2 would fuse, forming a new spirited body rather than remaining separate. The only possibility for this situation was for someone to have cultivated an acquired spirit body. To cultivate an acquired spirit body is as difficult as ascending to the heavens, especially with such top-tier spirited bodies. And I've never heard of these 2 bodies being cultivated later in life. Honglian looked at Lu Changsheng, who looked as dignified as a deity, full of doubts in her heart. Could it be the young master is the legendary myriad spirits physique? At this moment she recalled a body mentioned in ancient texts. The owner of this physique could plunder others' spirit body origins for themselves, very powerful and domineering. However, even she had only read about such a body in ancient tomes and was unclear about the specifics. If the young master is indeed a myriad spirits physique, then what about the Dragon Emperor body? Surely the myriad spirits physique would not have merged with the Dragon Emperor body into one? Honglian suddenly felt her knowledge insufficient, no longer able to comprehend Lu Changsheng's situation. Such cultivation techniques, physique and various opportunities, could the young master be a reincarnation of a true immortal? Honglian looked at Lu Chongqing before her, her heart filled with immense shock. She felt that even a reincarnated great being transformed into a true sovereign couldn't explain Lu Changsheng's situation. However, regardless of what Lu Changsheng's situation was, she was more convinced than ever that following him was an extremely correct decision. As for the shock of the several ladies and Honglian's thoughts, Lu Chongqing was unaware and unconcerned. Chapter 1126. Core Formation. Core Formation. Core Formation. He was currently exerting his full strength to operate the Yin-Yang Creation Classic. What is Yin and Yang? From the two comes three, that is Yin and Yang. Yin and Yang resonate with each other, mutually confirming, giving rise to the birth of myriad things. Lu Changsheng's body shimmered with precious light, as surging and astonishing Yin-Yang magic power flowed out, interweaving in the heavens and earth, mysteriously brilliant, forming a Yin-Yang Taoist chart. Extremes of Yang embrace Yin, extremes of Yin embrace Yang, Yin and Yang rotating, as if enacting the transformation of all things, spiraling behind Lu Chongqing. Seated within the center of the Yin-Yang Taoist chart, the flow of precious light made Lu Changsheng's body appear sacred and majestic, ethereal and obscure, as if existing alongside the world, eternal and undying. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Nature's spiritual energy of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, under the guidance of the Mount Sumeru Tree King, flowed continuously and crazily into Chongqing Hall. Within the cave mansion, the spiritual energy at this moment was almost as viscous as water, ceaselessly refined by Lu Chongqing through the spiritual root, the Yin-Yang Taoist chart, pouring into the Qi Ocean core. At this time, Lu Chongqing also began the second phase of core formation, law liquid crystallization. This phase has strict requirements for a cultivator's mana, the spiritual energy of the spirit vein, and the cultivator's divine sense. However, as Lu Changsheng's Yin-Yang Creation Classic operated, the mana in the Qi Ocean Dantian bubbled under the effects of the coagulation crystal elixir, the Tai Dao seed and the refinement of the sun-moon cauldron, and in an instant numerous mana particles crystallized into tiny crystal grains fine as sand. Core formation's third phase, pill condensing. Lu Changsheng's mental spirit calmed as he expanded his divine sense. The nascent soul divine sense began to encompass all crystalline particles, casting them into the sun-moon cauldron, condensing them into one. So heavy. The moment Lu Changsheng's divine sense came into contact with these crystal particles, he felt an invisible heaviness. Had his divine sense not been a match for that of a nascent soul immortal, he would have indeed struggled to control this power. Lu Chongqing knew this was because his foundation was too vigorously powerful. One must possess the nascent soul divine sense to condense an immortal golden core. This was what Honglian had previously said to him. At the time, knowing he possessed the nascent soul divine sense, he didn't pay it much attention. But now he deeply realized the significance of these words. Hum hum hum. The crystal grains entered the sun-moon cauldron, swirling continuously, absorbing the huge nature's spiritual energy. Simultaneously, 72 Yin-Yang primordial pills trembled, Yin-Yang energies flowing, pouring into the sun-moon cauldron. Lu Changsheng's eyes opened. With a raise of his hand, the 5 elements spirit fruit appeared. Directly consuming the spirit fruit in one bite, it transformed into a surge of pure and immense 5-colored medicinal power. The already turbulent sun-moon cauldron seemed nearly to burst at this moment. The mana in Lu Changsheng's meridians and dantian, like oil thrown onto fire, surged wildly, his body trembling. Had Lu Chongqing not possessed third-order body refining, an ordinary foundation establishment cultivator's physical body would not be able to withstand the impact of such vigorous magic power. Such a foundation is simply astonishing. This could well be a superior gold core upon initial formation. Honglian saw that Lu Chongqing had begun condensing the pill. She looked at the 4 remaining core formation spiritual objects before her and spoke. Young master, with your condition, you don't need these 4 core formation spiritual objects. If you still need them at the moment of your pill formation, I can use the secret ice fire refining golden elixir technique to quench your golden core with heavenly fire glaze and profound water cold crystal. If you continue using these fire marrow dates and clear water, it may actually be counterproductive. Honglian transmitted her voice to Lu Chongqing. Lu Changsheng's foundation was too robust. Under such circumstances, only top-tier core formation spiritual objects would suffice. Otherwise, regular core formation spiritual objects could negatively affect the quality of his core formation. Good. Lu Changsheng's handsome face showed neither joy nor sorrow as he softly responded, focusing wholeheartedly on operating his cultivation technique, allowing his divine sense to control the crystal grains. As the number of crystal grains increased, even Lu Changsheng gradually felt the strain. But the burden was still within his acceptable limits. Moreover, the medicinal power of the coagulation crystal elixir and a mild and exceptionally nourishing force from the sun-moon cauldron revitalized Lu Changsheng's soul and his purple mansion, easing his weariness. The young master's pill formation is extremely astonishing. Second-order top-grade spirit veins of the cave heaven may not be enough. You may want to activate the spirit gathering array ahead of time. Seeing Lu Changsheng's situation, Hong Lian spoke to Ling Zixiao and the others. Lu Changsheng's pill formation was tremendously astonishing, beyond her expectations. Therefore, to be safe, it was better to operate the Great Spirit Gathering formation immediately, to prevent a lack of spiritual energy and thus affect the quality of core formation. Good. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao immediately activated the prepared Great Spirit Gathering Array and ordered Mount Sumeru to draw the spiritual energy of Bai Lake Mountain. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At Blue Cloud Peak Summit, the Mount Sumeru Tree King, resembling golden jade, crystalline and translucent with rosy light shimmering, gently swayed. In an instant, the spiritual energy of Bai Lake Mountain surged towards the Mount Sumeru Tree King, forming a spiritual energy vortex at the summit. Even though Ling Zixiao had set up the inverted five elements great formation to conceal the situation of the Mount Sumeru Tree King, it still caused a small disturbance. What's going on? Is someone from the family breaking through to Foundation establishment? Who is it? Could it be Wang Shu breaking through to Foundation establishment? But this commotion seems to be a bit more intense than just Foundation establishment. Wang Shu should have broken through to Foundation establishment a long time ago. He's been deliberately condensing his foundation, so it's normal that the disturbance is bigger. Many Lu family disciples saw the commotion and immediately speculated that someone was establishing their foundation. After all, other than someone breaking through to Foundation establishment, they rarely witness such activity and the frenzied intake of nature's spiritual energy. Could it be that husband is beginning his core formation? Husband. On Lake Heart Island of Bai Lake Mountain, Lu Miaoyun and Lu Miaohuan saw this scene and realized it was their own husband undergoing core formation, their hearts feeling somewhat anxious. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Inside Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, a massive spiritual energy whirlpool formed, obscuring the skies with wind and clouds surging. Chapter 1127. Core Formation. Core Formation. Core Formation. For the viscous spiritual energy of nature, like a column of water, continuously pours into Changsheng Hall. The eye of the spiritual spring outside Changsheng Hall is currently erupting with water in a frenzied gush. Inside Changsheng Hall, Lu Changsheng is seated within the yin-yang Taoist chart. Above his head flow the yin-yang energies, enveloping his surroundings hazy and obscure, emitting a mystical and astonishing aura. As time trickles by within the core of the sun-moon cauldron, a thumb-sized golden core, glowing with a purple-gold luster, is slowly taking shape as it spins. After passing the three gates of core formation, one must first consolidate an embryonic form of the inner core. Then, by guiding this inner core with divine sense, continuously refining, tempering and compressing liquid mana, the inner core takes shape gradually, until it finally merges with the Tao platform, achieving the true elixir. This process is extremely dangerous. A single mistake can lead to the shattering of the core formation, breaking the Tao foundation, resulting in either death or injury. Insufficient foundation or lack of sustainability can also cause the core formation to crumble and impact the Tao foundation. If one's foundation is sufficient but their mentality is inadequate, being overly cautious throughout the process and only daring to maintain stability will affect the quality of the core formation. In addition to this, there is another very dangerous situation. During a breakthrough, all of a cultivator's inner worries, troubles, and guilt accumulate deep within and can erupt at such a time, possibly even forming a heart demon. This is also why many cultivators pursue enlightenment. However, for the heart demon of core formation, Lu Changsheng is not worried. He is now in Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, which possesses the effect of calming the mind and spirit, suppressing heart demons. If the embryonic form is already a golden core, then let me see where the limit lies. Lu Chongqing, looking at the embryonic form of the golden core in the sun-moon cauldron, remains serene in spirit. Without hesitation, his divine sense, sharp as a knife, enters this inner core, determined to control the newly formed yin-yang golden core to devour the surrounding nature's spiritual energy. Boom! As soon as Lu Changsheng's divine sense enters the inner core, he feels the overwhelming rush of the origin qi of the golden core, which begins to transform his divine sense. Originally, Lu Changsheng's divine sense could extend about 1,000 zhang. But at this very moment, nourished by the golden core origin, it rises at a visible speed. 1,100 zhang. 1,200 zhang. 1,300 zhang. Lu Chongqing does not dwell on the improvement of his divine sense. He fully controls the yin-yang golden core, beginning to inhale and exhale spiritual energy, integrating all the medicinal power of the coagulation crystal elixir, Tai Dao seed yin-yang primordial pill, and 5 elements spirit fruit into one. In a moment, the spiritual energy of the entire cave mansion solidifies almost to a gelatinous state, flowing like a tide into Lu Changsheng's body. Senior Red Lotus, what is the current situation with Lord Lu? Ling Zixiao looks at Lu Chongqing within the yin-yang Taoist chart, who resembles a divine being, and asks Red Lotus. Ordinarily, for cultivators breaking through core formation, their conditions could be roughly discerned by the nascent soul celestial phenomenon. But now the celestial phenomenon is being disrupted by Mount Sumeru, hence they did not know the current state of Lu Changsheng's core formation. The young master has just condensed the embryonic core formation, and this core is already comparable to a golden core. Once it becomes a pill, it will surely be an immortal golden core. Red Lotus' voice is ethereal and distant, speaking softly. An immortal golden core is indeed very astonishing. But seeing Lu Changsheng's situation today, she is no longer the least bit surprised by an immortal golden core. To her, it's entirely normal for a true immortal reincarnate to condense an immortal golden core, right? Even if Lu Chongqing were to converge a legendary Great Dao golden core, she wouldn't be surprised. Immortal golden core. Ling Zixiao and Lu Miaoge express elation in their eyes upon hearing this. Even though they knew their husband was extraordinary and most likely to form a superior gold core, Red Lotus words still bring a wave of joy to them. After all, even among the genuine inheritors of immortal sex within the entire Jiang country cultivation realm, the cultivators who can condense a superior gold core are few and far between. Not to mention the ultimate achievement of core formation, the immortal golden core. Immortal golden core. Xianxia looks toward Lu Chongqing, lightly purses her lips, fully aware of the significance behind these 4 words. Between a middle-grade true pill and a superior gold core lies an enormous chasm. Even her master and senior sister have only made it to half-step golden core, missing out on the true superior gold core. Yet Lu Chongqing has not only solidified a superior gold core but an immortal golden core as well, which is quite astonishing. Boom, boom, boom. In the Qi Ocean core of Lu Chongqing, the embryonic golden core glows brilliantly within the sun-moon cauldron, continuously shaping itself. From all directions, spiritual energy, under the compression of Lu Changsheng's divine sense, forms droplets of liquid mana, dripping into the golden core. Crack. After an indeterminate amount of time, cracks suddenly appear in the sun-moon cauldron of Lu Changsheng's Qi Ocean core. The effect of the sun-moon samsara technique has reached its limit at this moment, unable to contain the power of Lu Changsheng's golden core any longer. Accompanied by a series of cracking sounds, the sun-moon cauldron completely shatters. A bright, flawlessly round immortal golden core emerges, radiating brilliant light. Buzz. Dash. In an instant, infinite splendid golden light bursts from Lu Changsheng's body, as magnificent as a rainbow, illuminating with myriad halos, along with the vibrations of great Dao melodies. What's that? Lu Miaoge, looking somewhat pale and weak, gazes at Lu Chongqing with eyes filled with concern. Golden core charm, the melodies of the great Dao. Xianxia speaks softly. She has read about golden cores in the sex texts. Once someone condenses a superior gold core, celestial phenomena will appear between heaven and earth. When her senior sister Chu Qingyi formed her core, There were also manifestations of melodies of the Tao, leading many to speculate she had formed a superior gold core. It's so quick, shouldn't core formation take at least 100 days? Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao expresses surprise and astonishment. From embryonic core formation to successful core formation, one needs to continuously solidify liquid mana, complete fusion, and unify the golden core with the Tao foundation. Chapter 11:28. Core formation. Core formation. Core formation. _5 This process requires at least 100 days to sustain. Otherwise, the foundation might be unstable and imperfections may occur in the core formation. However, Lu Changsheng's situation, whether it be the 3 gates of core formation or the time taken for formation, is completely different from what she knows about core formation. No, the young master has always been condensing the golden core and has not begun the fusion with the Tao foundation. Hong Lian spoke softly. With her divine sense surpassing others, she could perceive Lu Changsheng's general condition through his yin-yang Taoist chart and the Thunder Gang dragon flame. What, he hasn't completed the fusion and has already achieved a high-quality golden core? Ling Zixiao exclaimed in surprise. To form a golden core without completing all the steps, such a foundation is truly terrifying. But thinking of Lu Changsheng's extraordinary actions over the years, it seemed normal and nothing to be surprised about. The Sun-Moon Samsara technique, Chongqing has been continuously refining the golden core inside the Sun-Moon cauldron. Lu Miaoge had just sensed the shattering of the Sun-Moon cauldron within Lu Chongqing and instantly understood what was happening. The Sun-Moon cauldron formed by the Sun-Moon Samsara technique could help one refine nature's spiritual energy and condense the core. Buzz. In Lu Changsheng's Qi Ocean core, the golden core, after breaking through the Sun-Moon cauldron, arrives atop the yin-yang 5 elements foundation base under the drive of his divine sense. The significance of the foundation establishment stage lies in that it marks the beginning of the great Tao and affects every subsequent realm. For instance, with a bedrock shatter foundation base, even with immense fortune and a lucky breakthrough to core formation, the fusion of Tao foundation and core could risk fracturing the foundation base. Buzz. Bright and round, the golden core lands on the Tao platform, shining brilliantly. The platform trembles, casting a 5 elements radiance that reflects off the golden core. The yin-yang energies transform into a yin-yang fish, swimming around the golden core as if carving it. It is during this process that the still unsolidified liquid mana in the golden core begins to converge, with the mysterious Tao patterns of yin and yang appearing on the surface of the golden core. As long as this process lasts for 100 days, Lu Changsheng's core formation will be considered complete. However, at this moment Lu Changsheng's mental spirit suddenly wavers slightly. As if he heard elder ancestor of the Su family arriving at Bai Lake Mountain with 2 third-rank demon kings, questioning him about the death of the Su family's 2nd and 3rd ancestors. But in an instant, a light spiritual energy surged in Lu Changsheng's mind, making his mental spirit clear and able to break through illusions, knowing that what he had just experienced was merely a heart demon born from the worries in his heart. In the depths of my heart, I'm still somewhat concerned about elder ancestor of the Su family coming, Lu Chongqing murmured to himself. Knowing that if elder ancestor of the Su family truly did come with 2 third-rank demon kings, even if he could sway people, it would still be very troublesome. He slowly opened his eyes and said to Ling Zixiao, Zixiao, replenish the cave heaven's spiritual energy. After all, Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven is only a 2nd-rank top-grade spirit vein. The amount of spiritual energy required for his core formation is immense. Continuing this way, it's possible that there will be a lack of spiritual energy. Okay. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao immediately used the remaining spirit vein origin outside of Chongqing Hall as an array eye, causing it to burn and transform into a torrent of pure spiritual energy. Apart from the spiritual vein origin, they had also prepared 100,000 spirit stones for emergencies. Lu Chongqing continued to close his eyes, circulating his cultivation technique, refining the golden core, allowing it to gradually merge with the Tao foundation. During this process, Lu Changsheng's inner demons and distractions kept surfacing. Either trouble at Bai Lake Mountain or White Tiger Mountain, his children far in the Jinyang sect, his traveling children Nangong Mili and Meng Xiaochan, his daughter Nangong Yaoyao. Towards the end, even the news of him forming an immortal golden core spread out, attracting nascent soul true lords. Although all these thoughts were dispelled by Mount Sumeru without affecting Lu Chongqing, They made him deeply realize that his secrets were too great, his vulnerabilities too many, too easily inviting trouble. Just like that, time passed little by little. Lu Miaoge, Ling Zixiao, Xiao Xie and Hong Lian all silently watched Lu Chongqing within the Yin-Yang Taoist chart. It was amazing. The amount of spiritual energy consumed by Lu Chongqing was astonishing. The spiritual vein origins stored in the mountain and river cauldron had all been burned, turning into pure spiritual energy. The prepared spirit stones had dwindled by 20,000. But Lu Chongqing seemed like a bottomless pit, showing no sign of stopping. However, faced with such a situation, they felt no distress, only joy. For the more nature's spiritual energy consumed during a breakthrough, the higher the quality of the golden core. At this moment, they saw the Yin-Yang Taoist chart spinning wildly around Lu Chongqing, like a black hole devouring the spiritual energy of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven. What's going on? All four women were shocked, unsure of Lu Chongqing's situation at the moment. With core formation entering the final stage, tending towards tranquility, should naturally come together, why then this sudden change? Could it be that a problem arose at the last moment of core formation? No worries. Lu Chongqing spoke out, calling to Mount Sumeru. Mount Sumeru. Yes, master. Mount Sumeru Tree King immediately directed all the spiritual energy toward Lu Chongqing's surrounding environment. In no time, the entire spiritual energy of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven surged into the black hole formed by the Yin-Yang Taoist chart. The chart exploded into a yin-yang fish, black and white, rushing into Lu Chongqing's Qi Ocean core. Inside Lu Chongqing's Qi Ocean core, atop the central five-colored Dao platform, the yin-yang golden core shone like a radiant purple-gold sun, bursting forth endless light. And in the very center of the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus of the Qi Ocean core, there was another dark-as-ink golden core, seemingly lifeless and stagnant. The yin-yang fish formed by the yin-yang Taoist chart picked up this dark golden core, charging straight toward the yin-yang golden core. Boom! With a sudden roaring sound, the yin-yang golden core entwined with the dark golden core, rotating against each other, intertwining into a mysterious yin-yang Taoist chart. Eventually, it settled into a golden core with black and white hues, gleaming with purple-gold luster. Buzz. The golden core resonated with the yin-yang five elements foundation base in a profoundly mysterious way, emitting supreme Great Tao aura. Following this, sounds of the Great Tao resonated, and a myriad of radiant light burst out from the golden core, as if chaos chi filled the air, purifying Lu Chongqing's flesh and every inch of his skin. Inside the Qi Ocean core, the previously abandoned life-bound spiritual artifact, the Seven Luminaries heart lamp, was also bathed in this moment's purification. It wasn't in vain that I spent so much time, effort and thought. The immortal golden core, like the perfect Tao foundation, is not the end, but can transform further. Lu Chongqing opened his eyes, his pupils streaming with yin-yang energies, and his face revealed ecstatic joy. From now on, he is a true golden core true person. Chapter 1129. Yin-Yang Great Path Golden Core Lifebound Magic Treasure. Chongqing Hall within the cave mansion. Lu Miaoge, Ling Zixiao, Xiao Xie and Hong Lian heard the ethereal sound of the great Tao of heaven and earth as they saw Lu Chongqing opening his eyes. His gentle and jade-like eyes were rotating like the sun and moon, radiantly shining. His body was suffused with the yin-yang Daoist melody flowing all around him, adding to him an air of mysterious charm and transcendent purity. Chongqing, you've succeeded in forming your core. Congratulations, my lord, on achieving the great success of the golden core. Chongqing, congratulations on forming your golden core. May you have a long and lasting life. Congratulations, young master. All three ladies were joyous and surprised, knowing that Lu Chongqing had successfully formed his core. Traveling the path of immortality together, moving forward hand in hand, your husband has merely taken a step ahead. Lu Chongqing said with a smile. He then looked at Lu Miaoge's pale and weak expression and said gently, Sister Miaoge, you've worked hard. Previously, the Sun-Moon Samsara technique in Tai Dao seed had indeed caused significant harm to Lu Miaoge. And during these days she had not rested, keeping her whole attention on his core formation process. Being able to help you makes me very happy. Lu Miaoge's eyes were brimming, gentle as water. There was not only the joy of husband and wife but also a maternal tenderness spilling from her eyes and brows. You rest well. Once I consolidate my realm, I will plant a Dao seed for you. Lu Chongqing held his wife's hand, then looked towards Ling Zixiao and Xianxia and said, Zixiao Xiyu, you both have worked hard these days. It wasn't hard. Both women said. Knowing that Lu Chongqing needed to consolidate his realm, they didn't talk much and left the cave mansion to let Lu Chongqing calmly undergo his closed-door cultivation. However, upon leaving the cave mansion, the three ladies looked at one another, each seeing a hint of daze in the other's beautiful eyes. Is this the power of a golden core cultivator? Inside the cave mansion, Lu Chongqing quietly experienced the power filling his body. Compared to the foundation establishment, his current mana could be described as vast as the ocean. With each movement there was boundless might. He could effortlessly kill his own past self from the foundation establishment stage. This was the disparity between foundation establishment and core formation. Once broken through, the power of foundation establishment would transform into the essence of the golden core. The gap between them was like a chasm in the heavens, much greater than the gap between the spiritual power during the Qi refinement realm and the mana during the foundation establishment stage. To describe it, it was like tofu versus a steel blade. No matter how much tofu there is, it would easily be split in two. At this moment, Lu Chongqing deeply realized the gap between foundation establishment and core formation. He understood why a nascent soul immortal is known as a high-rank cultivator. Yin Yang Great Path Golden Core. At this time, Lu Chongqing looked towards the golden core in the center of the Dao platform within his Qi Ocean core. He instinctively knew the details of his own golden core. This Yin Yang Great Path Golden Core was in harmony with the Yin Yang 5 Elements foundation base. Apart from significantly enhancing the effects of his initial Yin Yang energies, it also markedly strengthened the traits of the cultivation techniques he was practicing. His Yin Yang Creation Classic had the ability to coordinate all arts. It allowed a person to cultivate multiple techniques or skills, maintaining balance. Even by utilizing treasures from the void, one could convert their own mana into suitable demon race or demonic cultivation techniques. However, doing so, no matter what, the Dao Foundation Golden Core and cultivation technique would still be somewhat mismatched. Couldn't bring out the full power of the techniques. But the Yin Yang Great Path Golden Core could command and accommodate all techniques. The Golden Core would autonomously adapt according to the transformed technique traits, maximizing the power and effects of the techniques. Not just cultivation techniques but the spiritual body and supernatural skills as well. Yin Yang Creation commanding all arts. Lu Chongqing muttered to himself. If the previous characteristic of the Yin Yang Creation Classic was to coordinate all arts, now it was to command all arts. This Yin Yang Creation Classic and Yin Yang Great Path Golden Core truly suit me. With items like the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus, a treasure of the void, and the second Dantian, I can freely convert mana to the 7 Luminaries Great Freedom Sword Scripture, 99 Mystical Talisman Scripture, Black Dragon Codex, 12 Capital Demon Divine Technique, and also maximize these techniques' power to the greatest extent. If I want to disguise myself as a sword cultivator, I can use the 7 Luminaries Great Freedom Sword Scripture. If I need to deploy a talisman formation, I can operate the 99 Mystical Talisman Scripture. When alchemy is required, I can operate the Cauldron Medical King's Scripture. Lu Changsheng's lips curled into a smile. However, the Yin Yang Creation Classic and Yin Yang Great Path Golden Core were not omnipotent. For instance, the life-bound divine talisman of the 99 Mystical Talisman Scripture, Demon God's intention of the 12 Capital Demon Divine Technique. Even if he transformed the mana and the Golden Core perfectly matched the technique, he still couldn't deploy such moves. Unless he spent time and energy to gather the life-bound divine talisman, Demon God's intention. However, such behavior of going to great lengths for minor gains, Lu Chongqing naturally would not do it. If he had that time and energy, he might as well concentrate on condensing the remaining 6 life-bound treasured bone through the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art at the 9th level could cultivate the skull, rib bone, spine, limbs into treasured bones, and obtain innate divine ability. Chapter 1130, Yin Yang Great Path Golden Core Lifebound Magic Treasure. Spell, Yin Yang Creation Capture, Reversal Yin Yang Glazed Glass Wall, Soul Scattering Needle. Items. Lu Family Genealogy Myriad Spirits Bottle, 1000 Faces Puppet Fox, 5 Elements Spirit Fruit Tree, Dragon Blood Tree, Evil X Banisher Elixir, Soul Fusion Resurrection Elixir, Book of Malevolent Curses and Fates, life-substituting talisman, magical treasures, starlight plate, cave mystique treasure mirror, fate-defying robe, 7 luminaries heart lamp, oceanic bead, skills, artifact, refining 3rd rank, music mastery 3rd rank, talisman making 3rd rank, alchemy 2nd rank, puppet 2nd rank, spirit slaughterer 2nd rank, spirit cooking 2nd rank, wine brewing 2nd rank, dragon seeking 2nd rank, spiritual pets, Mount Sumeru Tree King 9 Netherhound, Heavenly Fragrance Goo, Peach Blossom Goo, Bloodline Effect, Successor's Spiritual Root Probability plus 30%, Offspring Reproduction Probability plus 30%, Spiritual Body Inheritance Rate plus 2%, Successors, Comprehension plus 6%, Family Members, 1103, 734. Lu Chongqing, upon seeing his lifespan, was suddenly surprised. You should know, a nascent soul immortal has a lifespan of 500 years. Even if cultivation techniques, physique, lifespan extension pills, and other factors might cause some variation, could it differ this much? However, Lu Chongqing immediately guessed the reason. It was related to his yin-yang great path golden core and flawless heavenly fragrance body. The immortal golden core, besides making the cultivator's foundation robust and enhancing the characteristics and effects of practice techniques, also provides a lifespan unlike ordinary humans. There are even rumors that after a golden core cultivator dies, as long as the golden core remains, the physical body can remain incorruptible for 1,000 years, and indestructible for 10,000 years. This also results in those with an immortal golden core having a much longer lifespan than ordinary nascent soul immortals. And since Lu Chongqing possesses the lifespan-extending spirit body, the flawless heavenly fragrance body, and has condensed the yin-yang great path golden core, his lifespan far exceeds that of an ordinary nascent soul immortal. Geez, how do I even spend such a long lifespan? Lu Chongqing felt emotional in his heart. Considering his age and this lifespan, he could truly be called exceedingly young. After pondering for a moment, Lu Chongqing looked at his golden core, calmed his mind and focused intensively, consolidating his realm. The golden core slowly revolved, radiating endless twilight and charms, purifying his blood, meridians, dantian and divine sense. His pristine crystal-clear body shimmered with treasure light, and his vivid red blood seemed to flow with a faint golden core charm. Qingyun sect. In a magnificent palace at Kaiyun Peak, Yun Wanshang, dressed in colorful palace attire with a voluptuous figure, was seated cross-legged. Her beautiful eyes closed, she was nurturing her golden core with yin-yang energies through her Tongyu Phoenix marrow body. Then warmth nurtured her golden core. Buzz. Just then her golden core trembled slightly. A mysterious flutter inexplicably surfaced in her heart, and on impulse, her beautiful eyes suddenly opened. What's happening? A hint of confusion appeared in Yun Wanshang's beautiful eyes. For that flutter she felt slightly familiar. It was somewhat similar to when Lu Chongqing and Xianxia practiced the Sun-Moon Samsara technique previously. Apart from her Tongyu Phoenix marrow body, her golden core also mysteriously generated a strange connection, leaving her puzzled. Lu Chongqing. Yun Wanshang, with her stunning and elegant demeanor, looked in the direction of Bai Lake Mountain, realizing it was related to Lu Chongqing. Although unsure of what had happened, she guessed that it must be Lu Chongqing doing something that caused disturbances affecting her. Otherwise, it wouldn't have caused such an impulse and her golden core to tremble. After pondering for a while, she closed her eyes and continued to nurture her golden core. Though their relationship could be considered familiar and they knew each other thoroughly, to really say they were familiar was yet very strange. They hardly had proper conversations. So guessing that Lu Chongqing might have caused some situation, but unless he approached her she wouldn't take the initiative to contact him. By Lake Mountain. With Lu Chongqing's breakthrough in core formation, the defensive state at Bai Lake Mountain was also lifted back to normal. Nobody knew what had happened several months ago. On this matter Lu Miaoge, Lu Miaoyun and others did not explain too much. Inside Chongqing Hall at Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven, Lu Chongqing opened his eyes, having consolidated his cultivation realm. Not only was his mana stable, but his physical body was also continuously improving through metamorphosis, reaching the critical point of the 10th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art. As long as his son Lu Pingon put in more effort, his 100 Refinements treasure body art could quickly break through. Besides his physical body, his divine sense had also increased from an original 1,000 zhang to 3,600 zhang. Typically, a nascent soul cultivator would have about 1,000 zhang of divine sense right after breaking through core formation. 3,000 zhang was a mid-nascent soul stage level. This was the advantage of having a robust foundation. Before the breakthrough, the more robust the essence, energy, and spirit, the more significant improvement one could obtain after the transformation baptism during a breakthrough. Besides his physical body, mana, and divine sense, Lu Changsheng's life-bound spiritual artifact, the Seven Luminaries Heart Lamp, was also elevated from a middle-grade spiritual artifact to a quasi-magical treasure under the purification of the Golden Core Charm. Sigh, it's kind of a pity. Lu Changsheng looked at the Seven Luminaries Heart Lamp and sighed in his heart. As he switched his cultivation techniques, this life-bound spiritual artifact was nearly abandoned. It was still kept only because it had effects like guarding the mind and condensing mana. Relying on my own slow nurturing, it's impossible to nurture instantly. If I want to create a magical treasure, it's just too expensive. Lu Changsheng thought about being a nascent soul immortal and yet not having a magical treasure suitable for himself and couldn't help but sigh. Yin-Yang creation scripture, being a true immortal level technique, naturally had many corresponding magical treasures. Yin-Yang Taoist chart. Yin-Yang ancient mirror. Yin-Yang 5-element sword. Yin-Yang Bagua robe. Yin-Yang creation gourd. But no matter which one, constructing it would be incredibly time-consuming, costly, and energy-intensive. Although Lu Changsheng was wealthy, this income was somewhat insufficient at the nascent soul level. Chapter 1131. Yin-Yang Great Path Golden Core Lifebound Magic Treasure. Moreover, the rare materials required for forging magical treasures often cannot be purchased with money alone. They must be acquired through bartering and continuous searching. Now that I have broken through to core formation, I can go to Immortal City to put some magical treasures and rare materials out there, exchange them through bartering for the heavenly and earthly treasures I need for crafting my life-bound magic treasure. Lu Changsheng's eyes slightly narrowed. He still had some advanced level stock in hand. In the past he didn't dare to deal with stolen goods openly, but now he felt more secure about it. Moreover, in my case there's no need to craft too many magical treasures. 1 or 2 would be sufficient. Lu Changsheng took a deep breath and gently exhaled. He usually did not spend time on nourishing magical treasures and seldom went out. In such cases, crafting too many magical treasures, aside from the time and effort, they might become obsolete before even being used. If I were to craft, then crafting the Yin-Yang Taoist chart and the Yin-Yang creation gourd would be sufficient. Lu Changsheng had long had ideas about his life-bound magic treasure, so he was not conflicted. The Yin-Yang Taoist chart is a multifunctional magical treasure. It can evolve yin and yang, invulnerable to all methods, can also suppress the void, lock heaven and earth to prevent others from escaping, and can even evolve a golden bridge to traverse the void. With Lu Changsheng possessing third-order body refining, Thunder Gang Dragon Flame, 9 treasures Rui Bone and Talisman formation, he was not lacking in attacking methods. The effect of this Yin-Yang Taoist chart could perfectly make up for his shortcomings. As for the Yin-Yang creation gourd, it serves as a treasure for nurturing Dao soldiers. Cultivating Dao soldiers with this treasure is much simpler than the Blackwater Dragon Spirit Weapon from the Black Dragon Codex. For Blackwater Dragon Spirit Weapon, not only selecting aquatic demon beasts with dragon blood is necessary, but continuous refining with the Blackwater Dragon spell and input of elixir medicines to strengthen their physique and nurture their spirit are required to gradually train a unit of Dao soldiers. The Yin-Yang creation gourd, however, can automatically absorb the aura of heaven and earth, ingesting any heavenly and earthly treasures to refine them into Yin-Yang source. Once enough Yin-Yang source is accumulated, it can craft Yin-Yang Daoist soldiers. However, to forge the Yin-Yang creation gourd, at least a gourd of spirit root quality is required for the process. Not sure if the system can be more helpful. Lu Changsheng thought to himself. The Yin-Yang Taoist chart can still have rare materials added later, continuously upgraded and recast. But that's not the case for the Yin-Yang creation gourd. The gourd for forging the magical treasure is very important. If it's just a normal third-order gourd, even if this treasure is crafted, its power and effectiveness are limited, too low of a ceiling. Thus, to Lu Changsheng, it would be best if the system provided a 4th order, or even a 5th order top-tier gourd. Such a Yin-Yang creation gourd, not only would its effects be great, but it will also be meaningful to cultivate Dao soldiers continuously using it. It's feasible to head to the Myriad Beasts mountain range to collect some materials and forge a few handy magical treasures. Lu Chongqing pondered in his mind. Life-bound magic treasures are quite troublesome. But as a third-order artifact refiner he could absolutely go to Myriad Beasts mountain range and kill a few demon kings for artifact crafting. After all, the materials from a demon king's body are very suitable for forging magical treasures. For example, the previously encountered Wind Thunder Hound. And not just for magical treasures, Lu Chongqing also planned to make a trip to Myriad Beasts mountain range. One reason is for his and his son's Tai soul body. Another reason is for the spirit vein. With his breakthrough into core formation, the spirit vein of Mount Sumeru Cave Heaven was quite strained. If he cultivated, people at Bihu Mountain wouldn't need to cultivate. Under this circumstance, naturally he planned to upgrade the spirit vein at home. To Lu Chongqing, the simplest method to enhance the spirit vein was to head to Myriad Beasts mountain range to seize the spiritual vein origin. I still don't know how powerful I am now. At this moment Lu Chongqing thought of an issue. Since he was going to Myriad Beasts mountain range, he naturally needed to understand his own combat strength clearly. After all, hunting demon kings in Myriad Beasts mountain range must be swift. If it drags on, it might attract other demon kings. Although he had seen other nascent soul immortals, third-rank demon kings, he had never fully engaged in a fight with them, hence he did not know the strength of a typical nascent soul immortal or demon king. Honglian, how does my mana compare to other nascent soul immortals? Lu Chongqing immediately looked towards the ancient beast taming charm, beckoned with his hand and asked Honglian. Chapter 1132. Wife, do you want to see my golden core? The ancient beast taming charm blossomed with rosy glimmers, as countless tiny crimson specks meandered across Lu Chongqing's body. The young master has just broken through to the core formation stage, yet his mana is as vast as the sea, vigorous and astonishing, sufficient to match many cultivators in the middle stage of true elixir. Moments later Honglian spoke, somewhat surprised by the foundation of Lu Chongqing's mana. One must know, from the early to the middle stage of core formation, the quality and quantity of mana are multiplied by several times. Lu Chongqing has just reached the first layer of core formation, yet his mana is so robustly exaggerated. This made her realize that Lu Chongqing's immortal golden core had been refined to the utmost limit, far surpassing the typical superior gold core, and it might even be the legendary Great Dao golden core. Otherwise, the gap between a superior gold core and true elixir wouldn't be this vast. Mid-nascent soul stage, huh? Lu Chongqing heard this, nodded slightly and continued to ask, then what do you think of my current combat power? Can I kill a cultivator at the middle stage of nascent soul? After pondering for a moment, Honglian said, the young master's specific combat power, Honglian, is not clear. At the core formation level, combat mainly involves magical treasures, divine skills and external forces. Just relying on mana if you want to kill someone, it is only possible if the realms are vastly different, such as a late-stage core formation cultivator against one at the initial stage, or an immortal golden core against a low-grade flawed core. The young master has just broken through the core formation stage, and has yet to cultivate divine skills and nurture a life-bound magic treasure. It would be difficult to rely solely on mana to kill a mid-nascent soul stage cultivator. Honglian's voice was soft and pleasant, presenting the matter rather tactfully. The greatest advantage of the golden core is its potential and foundation, making breakthroughs and realm advancements easier. In terms of combat, it's just the advantage brought by the foundational mana. Unless the cultivation technique practiced is geared towards sword cultivators or war cultivators, which specialize in offense and battle, the combat power might be somewhat higher. While Lu Chongqing's mana is vigorous and mysterious, it's not as sharp and overpowering as the cultivation techniques of sword cultivators or war cultivators. Magical treasures, divine skills, external forces. Lu Chongqing nodded slightly. He indeed considered magical treasures as his current weak point. Although he possesses the Starlight Plate, Cave Mystique Treasure Mirror, and the Fate-Defying Robe, none of these magical treasures are specialized in offense. However, when it comes to divine skills, Lu Chongqing is quite confident. With the inheritance of the system, he doesn't need to spend time on techniques and abilities. Whether it is the Yin-Yang Creation Scripture, the Seven Luminaries Great Freedom Sword Scripture, the 99 Mystical Talisman Scripture, or other techniques and abilities, he can execute them all. At most, it would take some time to become familiar and master them. And the Yin-Yang creation scripture as a true immortal level technique naturally contains various divine skills. Currently he can use 3 divine skills. Yin-Yang Qi Grasp. This divine skill boasts the power to overturn rivers and seas, lift mountains and seize peaks. In combat, it condenses the origin Qi of the golden core into a hand seal with capturing, suppressing and imprisoning effects. Yin-Yang Mysterious Divine Light. This divine skill can transform into countless variations. Divine soldiers, magic artifacts, the 5 elements, storms and thunder, even rain and sweet dew. It can also become protective Xian Guang or be used for soaring through the light and fleeing. Reversal Yin-Yang Liuli Wall. When this divine skill is activated, it can reverse Yin and Yang, conceal one's form and aura, and cause confusion in the heavenly secrets. In addition to these 3 major divine skills, Lu Chongsheng also possesses another great divine skill, Yin-Yang Great Mingling Millstone. However, having just broken through to the core formation stage, he is not yet able to use this great divine skill at will, as it would require a significant sacrifice. So in terms of divine skills he already has an advantage. As for external forces, they are Lu Changsheng's greatest confidence at present. The 9 treasures Rui Bone, possessing 9 top-grade divine skills, is sufficient to enhance his strength in all aspects and allow him to overcome enemies of higher realms. Thunder Gang Dragon Flame enhances his 3rd order body refinement and increases his prowess in close combat. Thousand Faces Puppet Fox, Endless Guileful Head, and the Dark Demon Corpse, 3 nascent soul combat powers. The Thousand Faces Puppet Fox, proficient in illusion techniques and charm, can bewitch and disturb the mental spirits of others, attacking their divine sense and sinking them into illusion realms. The Endless Guileful Head can disturb one's spirit, create a ghost domain and erode another's mana. The Dark Demon Corpse, a 3rd rank Demon King Corpse refinement, might have the weakest combat power, but it can also serve as a meat shield, tangling with nascent soul cultivators for several rounds. In addition, he also has the Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus as his 2nd Dantian and thousands of talismans as a trump card in his Talisman C tactics. As for the core exotic treasure from before, Profound Origin Bead, it's been phased out. After breaking through to core formation, this exotic treasure could no longer give him a boost in cultivation level. It could only be used as the most ordinary 2nd Dantian to store mana. The effect is far inferior to that of his current Tianyuan Supreme King Lotus. I see the young master has 3rd order body refinement, and your divine sense is certainly much higher than fellow cultivators of the same realm. Coupled with external forces such as heavenly spiritual fire, your combat power naturally far exceeds those of the same realm, but the combat power of nascent soul cultivators cannot be generalized. Some nascent soul cultivators might only have a low-grade flawed core, but they are fortunate enough to have superior quality magical treasures and astonishing comprehension, mastering multiple divine skills. Their combat power might even be stronger than some newly advanced golden core cultivators. The ancient beast taming charm radiated a diffuse rosy light as Hong Lian continued to speak. The nascent soul stage is unlike Qi refinement and foundation establishment. Even if you've just broken through to the core formation stage, you can use superior quality treasures or even forcibly spur top-grade treasures. Thus, magical treasures significantly influence combat power during the nascent soul stage. A lot of nascent soul cultivators who may have bleak prospects for further breakthroughs spend most of their time and effort on their life-bound magic treasures and technique and magical powers. This makes their life-bound magic treasures and divine skills far superior to the average person. As for late-stage foundation establishment cultivators, the young master should still be careful. Low-grade flawed core cultivators without great opportunities are basically hopeless in advancing to the late core formation stage. Therefore, those who can break through to the late core formation stage are basically cultivators with middle-grade true pills. Their foundations, potentials and opportunities are all exceptional. As for third-rank demon kings, since demon beasts naturally have robust physical bodies, it is equivalent to magical dual cultivation, and they are far superior to cultivators of the same realm. If they are top-tier earth rank or heavenly grade bloodline demon kings, they are equivalent to cultivators with superior gold cores, and most likely possess innate divine abilities, making their combat power far surpass those of the same realm. Chapter 1133. Wife, do you want to see my golden core? Hong Lian slowly elaborated on combat prowess during core formation. I understand. Lu Chongqing nodded slightly. Combat prowess is something that can only be realized through actual fighting. Without a fight, unless the difference in realm is too great, showing an overwhelming advantage, it's uncertain. After all, every cultivator who has cultivated to this realm has some trump cards. However, Lu Chongqing, based on his own mana and divine skills, believed that defeating a cultivator in the mid-core formation stage should pose no problem. As for those in the late core formation stage, Lu Chongqing felt there was no need to concern himself. Young master, what grade of golden core did you condense? At this time Hong Lian couldn't help but ask, her curiosity piqued. She wanted to know if Lu Chongqing had condensed the legendary Great Dao Golden Core. An immortal golden core. It's just that my golden core has evolved and ascended upon the foundation of an immortal golden core. Lu Chongqing stated directly. Although it is very presumptuous to inquire about someone's Dao foundation or the grade of their golden core among cultivators, Hong Lian was considered an insider, so Lu Chongqing didn't mind. Moreover, after the busyness was over, Lu Chongqing planned to have a soul fusion with Hong Lian for a deeper understanding of her. And once he confirmed that she had no other intentions, he would give her the Peachwood spirit womb. This way, aside from himself, there would be another nascent soul immortal in the family, giving him peace of mind to go out. To evolve upon the foundation of the immortal golden core, does the Great Dao Golden Core really exist? Hong Lian couldn't help exclaiming in surprise. Great Dao Golden Core? There is something beyond the immortal golden core? Lu Chongqing was quite astonished. He had never heard of a Great Dao Golden Core. Even though his own Golden Core was named the Yin-Yang Great Path Golden Core, he simply thought it was because he had cultivated the Yin-Yang Great Path, hence condensing such a Golden Core. Yes, regarding the Great Dao Golden Core, I've only ever heard of it, never seen it, nor can confirm its existence. Hong Lian spoke softly. Oh. Lu Chongqing raised his eyebrows, gesturing for Hong Lian to elaborate on this Great Dao Golden Core. I once read in a handbook that beyond the immortal golden core, there is a kind of golden core called the Great Dao Golden Core. Those who condense the Great Dao Golden Core are favored by the Great Dao in the unknown, cared for by heaven and earth. Their cultivation path will be much smoother in the future, and they possess the potential for divinity transformation. Hong Lian voiced out, guessing that Lu Chongqing most likely possessed the Great Dao Golden Core. After all, the immortal golden core is already imperishable and without flaw, so how could there still be a possibility for transformation? Favored by the Great Dao in the unknown, enhancing one's destiny? Lu Chongqing was astounded. He hadn't expected that condensing a core could also enhance one's destiny. However, he had heard of similar sayings. As a cultivator's realm breaks through, their fate invisibly improves a bit. Yes, the saying about destiny is elusive but indeed exists. For example, breaking through from core formation to nascent soul not only requires the right timing, location, and people, but also relates to destiny. Those who manage to break through to nascent soul are all blessed with great destiny. Hong Lian said, however, the truth of this saying is hard to verify. Furthermore, those who can condense the Great Dao Golden Core are children of destiny. Their cultivation path is smooth, as powerful as a bamboo, and even when faced with danger, they often turn calamities into blessings. Therefore, whether the Great Dao Golden Core has the effect of invisibly enhancing one's destiny, is also indiscernible. Although Hong Lian, as a nascent soul true monarch, has broad knowledge, such things as the Taoist body and Great Dao Golden Core are beyond her understanding, and much of which she knows only superficially. I see. Lu Chongqing nodded slightly but didn't take it too seriously. He pursued perfection in his foundation, solely believing that he had the potential to become immortal. In this case, he naturally couldn't let the pursuit of realm hinder his foundation, causing him to spend a lot of time and effort later to make up for it. As for the effects of the Great Dao Golden Core, he thought it best if it existed, but was indifferent otherwise. Hong Lian, you have worked hard. Rest well, and in a few days I will use a secret technique to nourish your soul. Lu Chongqing spoke to Hong Lian. He then stored away the ancient beast-taming charm and the remaining 4 core formation spiritual objects, planning to leave these 4 spiritual objects for Lu Miaoge or Xianxia to use during their core formation. As long as the Cave Heaven Spirit Vein advances to 3rd rank, the 5 elements fruit tree can be planted. Then whether in foundation establishment or core formation at home, everyone will be able to advance a whole level. Lu Chongqing pondered internally. Inside his system space he still possessed a 5 elements fruit tree. The 5 elements spirit fruits produced by this tree not only enhanced the probability of core formation, but also greatly benefited breakthrough to foundation establishment and the condensation of foundational mana. If Lu Rui had had a 5 elements spirit fruit when breaking through to foundation establishment, it would not only have greatly increased the success rate but even possibly achieved a flawless Dao foundation. Third order spirit vein. Lu Chongqing took a deep breath and exhaled before stepping out of the cave mansion. Outside Chongqing Hall, Ling Zixiao elegantly sat dressed in a blue palace dress, holding an ancient scroll. Upon seeing Lu Chongqing, her genteel and lovely cheeks immediately lit up as she joyfully exclaimed, "My lord!" Zixiao. Lu Chongqing approached with a smile, naturally embracing her voluptuous figure and said, "Zixiao, now that I've broken through to core formation, I am confident that I can resolve the matter of your dragon roar physique." Of course he would not forget about Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique, nor that of his daughter Lu Lingyi. Now that he had broken through to core formation with his mana and yin-yang source fully enhanced, he was confident he could balance Ling Zixiao's dragon roar origin. "Thank you, my lord." Ling Zixiao, seeing that Lu Chongqing's first concern was her own issue, smiled tenderly. Lu Chongqing grasped Ling Zixiao's white wrist and activated the yin-yang creation scripture. Buzz. Back when his foundation establishment power could only temporarily suppress and balance the dragon roar physique. But now with the vast and mighty golden core true essence flowing into Ling Zixiao's body, it immediately overwhelmed the dragon roar qi. Under the command of the yin-yang great path golden core, which governs all laws, the dragon roar qi gradually transformed into a stream of yin-yang qi. Chapter 1134. Wife, do you want to see my golden core? This. Ling Zixiao felt the changes within her body, surprised at heart. She had once journeyed to the Zhou Immortal city, spending all her spirit stones and heavenly and earthly treasures, to seek a diagnosis from a nascent soul immortal. But the other party indicated that her condition was beyond reversal. Yet Lu Chongqing, having just broken through to core formation, was able to use his mana to reverse yin and yang, resolving her dragon roar physique situation, which was astonishing. Buzz buzz buzz. As Lu Chongqing's yin-yang magic power baptized Ling Zixiao's meridians and dantian, the dragon roar physique was stimulated, beginning to tremble and bellow. Boom. In Lu Chongqing's qi ocean core, the golden core burst forth with splendid radiant light. A black and a white yin-yang fish suddenly surged out, entering Ling Zixiao's body through his palm, suppressing her dragon roar origin. Woo. The dragon roar origin whined weakly, but was still very tenacious, forming a balance with this yin-yang source. Zixiao will continue later. Lu Chongqing spoke out. He had just made a simple attempt. If they were to truly start reversing yin and yang, it would be more secure to assist with the dual cultivation secret method, with Lu Miaoge watching by his side. Thank you for your hard work, my lord. Ling Zixiao felt much more comfortable and relaxed at this moment, smiling lightly as she spoke. The two left the Chongqing Hall and headed towards the Lu family mansion. Chongqing, husband, daddy, Lu Miaoge and Lu Miaoyun were joyfully surprised upon seeing Lu Chongqing. Currently in the Lu family, only Lu Miaoge, Xiaoxia, Ling Zixiao, Lu Miaoyun, and Lu Miaohuan knew of Lu Chongqing's core formation. The other wives and children all thought that Lu Chongqing had been in closed-door cultivation or had gone out recently. Husband, did you really form your core? Moments later, latching onto Lu Chongqing's wrist, Lu Miaoyun asked in a soft voice, her fresh and serene face beaming with joy, like a young girl. Hee, you have divine sense, just take a look and you'll know. Lu Chongqing looked at his wife, who resembled a little girl, gently pinched her little nose and said with a smile. Though broadcasting the matter of core formation wasn't appropriate, it was fine to let his beloved wife have a look. Upon hearing this, Lu Miaoyun's divine sense entered Lu Chongqing's body unobstructed. She immediately saw within the qi ocean core at the center of the 5-colored jade disc, a black and white purple golden gleaming golden core. This is the golden core? Lu Miaoyun observed the golden core. After a moment she withdrew her divine sense, raised her beautiful head slightly, and with eyes full of admiration and adoration, looked at Lu Chongqing and said, I heard Sister Miaoga say that the husband has formed a first-grade golden core, is this it? That's right. Lu Chongqing didn't speak of the Great Dao Golden Core. After all, Hong Lian had mentioned that the idea of a Great Dao Golden Core was just a concept, and its actual existence was uncertain. As expected of my husband, not only becoming a true pill master but also forming a first-grade golden core. Lu Miaoyun said joyfully like a little girl who had tasted honey. I've heard that there aren't many in the entire Jiang country cultivation realm who have formed such golden cores. When she first married Lu Chongqing, he was just a little cultivator at the third-level energy refinement. She had never imagined that one day her own husband would become an elusive nascent soul immortal. However, having witnessed Lu Chongqing grow step by step over the years, and now practicing the heavenly longevity technique herself, she has put aside her early sensitivity, insecurities and overthinking, taking joy and pride in her husband's achievements. There might not be many in the Jiang country cultivation realm, but there are quite a few in the southern wilderness cultivation realm. And husband is just one step ahead. In the future my Miaoyun will also become a nascent soul immortal. Lu Chongqing said with a light laugh. Normally, practicing the heavenly longevity technique to achieve core formation would take at least 100 years or two. But with the myriad spirits bottle, this time would be significantly reduced. Lu Miaoyun looked forward to such a day upon hearing this. Then she continued with a joyful smile. Husband, I heard that true pill masters often choose a Dao title. What do you plan to pick? I haven't thought about it yet, I plan to consider it later. Lu Chongqing said warmly. Upon achieving core formation, most cultivators would choose a Dao title. They are chosen based on cultivation techniques, names, aspirations, preferences, characteristics, etc. with no strict rules. However, there is a saying in the cultivation world. Your Dao title can influence your destiny. It can subtly guide a person's fortune, changing fate and fortune. Although such a concept is very vague, those who cultivate to the core formation stage all regard destiny and fortune with an attitude of better to believe it and be wrong than to disbelieve and be right. Lu Chongqing also chose to believe rather than disbelieve and planned to think about it when the time comes. Lu Miaoyun said with a smile, then told Lu Chongqing about some of the things that happened during his half-year of closed-door breakthrough. News came from the Azure Phoenix Immortal City that finally, a force was making a move against the city. With Azure Phoenix Immortal no longer presiding, the Azure Phoenix Immortal City was completely disorganized. Moreover, some high-level members of the Azure Phoenix Immortal City surely anticipated the situation and prepared in advance. However, driven by greed, many cultivators still perished in the turmoil. Rumors now suggest that the Azure Phoenix Immortal City's hierarchy has been replaced by a new group, with backing from the Shadow of Jiang Country and Yu Country Immortal sects. As for how things actually stand, that information was beyond the reach of Bihu Lake Mountain. A major cleansing in the Azure Phoenix Immortal City. Upon hearing this, Lu Changsheng's first thought was of Li Feiyu. The latter had written to him before, advising against going to the Azure Phoenix Immortal City, probably sensing the approach of this tumultuous day. He wondered how Li Feiyu fared amidst this upheaval. With such a drastic overhaul, it said that most who died were false core immortals or Foundation establishment peak cultivators. Li Feiyu should be fine.